Hello, Power of Three. I mean, Final Three. No, okay, I'm kidding. So, welcome to the cast assessment for 1984 Power of Three. This is season 5. We have 18 new house guests, and we are going to assess them tonight. I am here with Blake, and then the Power of Three from last season. We are missing Paige tonight. She is off doing something fun. I'm keeping her snap streaks right now, so yeah. So we told these guys that we have one big secret about this season that we have to tell them, that Blake and I are like shooting daggers at them that they will not tell anybody because this is a big secret that nobody's going to know for a long time. So this season obviously is called The Power of Three. For the first time in 1984, we will be having a final three.
I'm so mad.
So at the end of the season,
so bad.
At the end of the season, instead of having a final two like we usually have in 1984, we will have a final three. Means that the end is going to work very differently, obviously. And
Real quick,
what
could that been the twist last season?
So we will have a final three this season. Obviously, we do not want anybody knowing that.
Wait, hold on. Drew, honey, it didn't happen last season because we have to ensure that people who sit with a bandana over their face for a 22-minute time limit that goes for an hour and a half don't make final two.
I could still make final two if Megan picked me.
Okay, so I don't think we're going to tell them until about like final 6 is I think what we said. So they're not going to know for a while.
Tell them until final 4 personally.
I would tell them at the final 3, to be quite honest with you.
Also the main twist of the season, which the house guests currently do not know. I think we've told you guys already. We changed it from what we originally said, but so Caleb, I don't think we've told him yet. So the twist this season is that each week we will have a power of 3 instead of a head of household. So that means 3 people will be coming together to make the nominations. I love that Caleb didn't know about this because we changed it.
Did not.
So,
it was completely different last time I heard.
So there will be 3 head of households every week coming together to be the power of 3. They will come together, nominate 2 people, and have a normal week with the 3 people in power. If they cannot come to a decision, they go on the block as the 3 nominees. So, yes. Okay, so now that we've got through all of that,
so good.
We're excited about, we can start the cast assessment. We're going to give our thoughts about each person, and then we're going to say where in the game we think they are going to end up, whether it be finals, the jury, or the pre-jury. So I'm just going to preface mine personally is it's all going to come from my little fantasy thing that I do every season. I don't know how you guys are going to do it, but yeah. So first up, we have Caitlyn. Anybody want to start?
Is this the person Billy won't shut up about?
Yes, this is Caitlyn.
Okay.
If you need.
I don't know Caitlyn, but I know she played Perception with Billy and got like first boot or like second boot. But also she's a girl, and she's like a funny, nice girl. So I feel like that'll do her well in 1984. Yeah, she's interesting. I'm not sure how like intelligent she is from my limited experience talking with her, but I think she's really sweet, and I think she has the potential to be kind of like the sweetheart of the season.
I think in her video she did call herself a dumb bitch, if I'm not mistaken. I really think she did call herself that. What?
I said, is that a quote?
I believe it is. If it's not, I'm so sorry, Caitlyn, but I really think she said that about herself. No, I agree. I really like Caitlyn. I am worried. I did notice that her and Billy are from the same college. I don't know if anybody else is going to catch on to that. I don't think they know each other at all, but it's something that people will latch on to, so I am worried about that. I don't know. She seems nice and she seems sweet, but I don't know how well she's going to get along with some of the other cast members, and I am worried about that. Personally, I don't see her going very far, which is really sad because I think she's super interesting and I want her to go far, but I don't see it happening.
I personally have never played with Caitlyn, but I know plenty of people who do. From what I hear, she can be a lovely person, but I also hear that she's very controversial, hence why sometimes she can get very early boots. I'm not sure if that's how she's going to be with this cast. She might have possibly learned from her lessons. I would hope so, because I feel like she might be somebody who can go decently far. Like I said, I know plenty of people who've played with her. Some common things that they have said about her, honestly, is that she is a big flirt. She has a big Parvati vibe. So if she has to flirt to get what she needs, she's willing to do it. So I'm kind of wondering if she might go with that route in this, but I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 with her. If she is the controversial person that a lot of people say, then I don't see her going far. But if she isn't, then I do see her actually going pretty far on this.
Go, Blake.
I actually really, really love Caitlyn. I just played Ascendance with her for the very short time that I got to. But we actually were getting pretty close. She's such a sweet girl. And the initial thought, from her Meet Me video that she gives me vibes of is Kat BB21 vibes. She is unintentionally being funny, but she's still funny as fuck. And so I think that kind of you all have said, she's very flirty. She will get people to like her very easily, but at the same time, I could see her blowing up on somebody as well. However, I know she's capable of having those strategy talks with people. I know she's capable of having those personal talks with people. So I'm hoping that that's the strategy she kind of takes this time around, and hopefully she can make it far. But like Caleb said, I could see her doing something to make her go early. I'm going to have faith in her, and I'm going to say she is going to get mid-jury or so.
Okay, so I like Caitlyn. I don't know how she's gonna do. I know that last night she just won the Ascendance Mini. So I know she's capable of winning games. Now that was a mini, that I don't know how that'll translate. Completely different format, but yeah, I pretty much agree with all the sentiments everybody else has been saying. I predicted her late pre-jury, but I could easily see her getting jury. I don't necessarily think she'll make it to the end, but yeah, I think there's definitely some people in this game, like Hunter maybe, that she might work with. I was gonna say hook up with. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I feel like her and Hunter might work well together, or maybe her and Nick Benner. I don't know. We'll have to see. No.
Oh, one more thing to add on to that is I know people have already been talking about or on the People's Republics. I was on that Zoom call earlier. They were talking about how Caitlyn and Sean are really tight, and how Caitlyn absolutely refused to vote Sean out during the mini last night. So I know that's kind of being looked at already.
Also, we have 4 alumni from Ascendance 6, which is Caitlyn, Sean, Galen, and Gianna. I don't necessarily think all 4 of them will work together, but I think if anybody has any inkling of knowing that they just all played a game together, even though 2 of them were very early boots, I think people might latch onto that and might target them for that. So I think of the 4, we're probably going to lose 1 or 2 pretty soon, depending on who gets into that power position. So
who knows? Or maybe this season we'll have another rumor dispelled.
Yeah, maybe that might happen. Let's hope for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I didn't make my prediction for her placement, but I think she's making jury. But I think she's gonna get first juror. I firmly believe she will pull a Billy Stevens and get
Her
the
and Billy.
could
How
see that.
fitting.
I could see that. Okay. Next is Bryce. Some people might know him as Tempo Neptune. Seems like Caleb might want to talk first on this.
I adore him. He was one of my first friends way back in 2012, 2013, whenever I joined this site. He was one of my first friends that I ever met on here, and he is the nicest person ever. He never has anything mean to say. He's always just super positive. I haven't talked to him in a really, really long time though, so I don't know how he is in games, and he says he's pretty new to the org community. And I have heard that he's also pretty inactive, or he has been in past games. So I am a little nervous for him. I have to put all my faith in him though, because I'm rooting for him 100%. I want him to go so far, and I know he has the capability to if he just is active, and I'm hoping he will be. But I don't know. I think he's going to go really, really far. Late jury, if not finals.
Okay. So I played double cross with Bryce. I think I said before I don't know him. Then I saw the intro video. I do know him. So that's my beat. But I played double cross with Bryce, and we were on the same first starting tribe, and then we swapped away from each other. And he got voted out right before the second swap. And the second swap, I found out why. And it turns out because there had been an OG tribe thing. And it was going to go to Rocks because the swap tribe was 3-3. And instead of going to Rocks, he brought up the idea to the other person, should we just vote out our own tribe member? Because I don't really want to go to Rocks for him. And then they ended up not trusting him because he suggested going against the three of them. So then they just flipped it and voted him out. So in that sense, not really a good, I guess, social read on people, or trying to maybe switch things up too early in the game. So that's just what happened in double cross. But also I've heard the inactive thing as well. So I think although he's intelligent, I think maybe just with the inactivity, not knowing when to go for things, or doing things at the right time, I think he'll end up getting pre-jury because of that.
Yeah. One note that I made about him, I like how he mentioned that he's a tennis player, which tennis players obviously they're athletic, but when people look at athletic people, normally they think football, basketball, big muscles, but tennis players, they have to be very active and all that stuff too. I see him doing really well in comps, but with him possibly being inactive because of his past, that might not matter, so that does worry me. If he can be active in this game, and if he just kind of minds his P's and Q's, not tries to make big moves early on in the game, I see him making it, if not finals, very close to finals. I'm saying it right now, if he actually puts effort into this, I see him at least making top 6.
I like Bryce. I think that he's super funny. Earlier on the main call, he made a joke that made me laugh, and I'm glad I was on mute because I laughed a little too much at it. But the thing about this cast in general is I could see anybody taking power, and I could see anybody going far. Because I think this is a pretty stacked cast in general. So my hope for the season is that we get a split house. And I said this to Michael, I could see it being the pretty people.
It's not the pretty people again.
This last season. I love it.
I could see that being that this season. And Michael and I even separated people into each category of what we think each person could be and who we think would work with
Caleb,
who.
stop.
Now you guys separate people based on their law.
No, that's not what I meant. That sounds so bad.
Not pretty
No, with the pretty people and then the outcasts, the typically outcasted people. Not ugly people and the pretty people. Come on, Caleb.
So wait a minute. So what makes somebody an outcast?
Well, the older...
They're not pretty.
Caleb Reed. The older aged people, the people that maybe a little bit more awkward,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Like us, that's the outcast. That.
For the five of us, that's cute. Thanks.
But for Bryce, I hope that he's active because I've also heard the inactive thing. Right when he was revealed, somebody said, good luck with Bryce because during Taze, he was inactive. But so far, like, even I know it's only the first day, but I mean, he showed up on the first call already and was already, like, being social with people. So I have faith with him that he's going to make those social connections. However, I could see him getting screwed over early, or I could see him getting backstabbed early. I do think he's going to get, like, late pre-jury. But I hope he proves me wrong because I really like him so far.
I really like Bryce too. He was a very late applicant. I was happy when we got him. So he just won 100 days of voting on Tengaged. Obviously, that's completely different than an org, but he was able to socially maneuver himself in that game. So I don't know how that will translate to this one. I feel like in Taze, it was season 1 of Taze, and so Taze didn't have like the hype it has now or whatever. And also that was before quarantine. So right now, if he is in quarantine or whatever, he might just be a lot more active than he has been able to before. So I think he's a great player when he's active. So if he's active, I think he's going to do well. I predicted him early jury only because I think that people are going to start seeing him as one of those competition threats. So, yeah. Okay.
I could see him being like a JJ, like late pre-jury, but like without the craziness, just more so of like a toned down version.
Do you think that he'll eat a sandwich?
JJ, you should have eat your sandwich. You're now on the block.
I think Bryce would eat a sandwich. Yeah. Bryce would.
Okay.
My shining moment.
Next, we have Nolan. Some people might know him as Mystery Game on Tengaged. I'll start, I guess. So I've known Nolan for a while, actually. He's more of like a group game person, stars person. I think he's only played Trinity. I think that's the only other org he's played. He played the season of Trinity that got canceled, and then he played New Beginnings, and he was like second boot. So his track record in orgs isn't necessarily the best, but I think that he's gonna be somebody who kind of slides under the radar. We have a cast of huge names, like these are big names, and he's not one of them, and I think that's gonna help him. I don't necessarily know if he is going to have the social connections to be able to make it to the end, but I think he's going to be able to slide by for a while. Let's see. I don't know. I predicted in my little fantasy thing, I predicted him pre-jury, but I feel like, I don't know, I could really see him going anywhere in this cast. If I had to say something, I think I would say pre-jury, only because I think that he could be somebody who's just an easy early boot, especially with this twist. I think that people might easily agree to put him up, and that could kind of screw him. But yeah, I don't know. I really like him though. So.
I'll kind of piggyback off of that. How you said like you felt he would possibly be like an early boot because people would feel like it would be like an easy choice. I kind of feel the same way. I did notice that he mentioned something about how he's socially awkward, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing. But if he's not able to make social connections that he needs to in the beginning, that's gonna screw him over. So I do see him being pre-jury as well. Also, one thing that I did make a note of, because Meet Me videos, people don't really take them as seriously as they should. That can mean a difference between working with somebody and being against somebody, to be honest. When I saw Caleb and Megan's, for instance, like when I watched their Meet Me video, I was like, those are two people that I want to get to know. And obviously, shit happened. one thing that he did say is that he'd rather win and be hated.
Mm.
That's not something people really want to hear from somebody that they're going to be playing with. So that could also screw him up royally. I'm hoping people will be more open-minded and kind of look past that. But either way it goes, I still kind of see him to be like pre-jury, to be honest.
I'm gonna add one thing, and he kind of reminds me of Cam from season 3. I don't know if you guys really paid attention to that season. I know that Blake obviously did. I feel like he's kind of gonna end up in a situation like Cam, where he's kind of there. That's about it. Like, I hope not, because I really love Nolan, but like that's where I kind of see him at, which is kind of funny because Nolan and Lexi are really close, and Lexi and Cam are brother and sister, so I just think that's kind of funny. But yeah, okay, somebody else go.
I really like Nolan, and he has a picture of Chucky as his profile picture, so I'm gonna assume that he likes horror movies, so that makes me like him even more. However, I do kind of see what y'all are saying about him being, I guess, not the most social person out there. So I also think that he will go pre-jury. However, I really, really like him, and I think that he brings a unique personality to the cast that I think every cast needs, but he also fits that mold of that type of player who you don't know where they're going to go, or what they're going to do, or where they're going to place. So I hope he goes far, but I do see him going pre-merge.
Yeah, I agree with Blake. I mean, even just watching him, it's like he's a complete wild card. Like, I don't know how well or how poorly he's gonna do. So I can't really say much. I actually disagree with Michael. I think he is a big name, but I guess not, because that's on 10 gauge and only half of the people are on 10 gauge. And even then, there are some bigger 10 gauge names in the cast than his. But I don't know, when I know his 10 gauge username, like, that's one that I know pretty well, and I've seen him around a lot. So I do think he could be a big target, but I do agree with there are some more, there's bigger fish to fry than him. But yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to get a read on him. I'm just not really sure where he's going to land. I can't really give a definite answer because I don't know. I hope he does well, but I don't know.
Okay, so I am gonna go against pretty much what everyone has said. Mostly because, like I said, I think before we started recording, I have not yet watched all of the Meet Me videos because I fucking suck and I was out getting dick for my birthday. Oh, sorry. But so, and again, the people that I don't know or don't have experience with, I'm going off of like literally the action shots, pictures, y'all's impressions. But I think different because for one, I love people that are awkward and weird, and I love outcasts and like the people who aren't part of the pretty group. Those are the people I like vibe with, and those are the people I work with. Shout out to Caleb and Drew. But I like outcasts, and I think outcasts. I think in 1984, outcasts thrive as compared to maybe other orgs where, again, the pretty people or the popular people thrive. So I personally think that he's probably going to do better than you guys think, mostly because, again, there are bigger fish to fry. So I think he's going to kind of slide under the radar for a bit. I'm guessing he's going to get like mid-jury, like 8th, 7th, around there.
Also, to add on to that, there was a couple other people who said they were socially awkward too. Like, that blatantly stated they were socially awkward. So I'm wondering if they're all going to like get together, which I know you guys said before, but that could help him out a lot.
I'd like to see this.
I will also say on the original house call, Nolan was kind of there. He definitely like was already in his prod chat saying he doesn't know how this is gonna go because he feels like he's an outsider looking in on this cast, because he said a lot of these people know each other already or they've played other games before. So that'll be interesting to see how he fares in this game.
Again, though, I think it goes to show, though, because, like, at least from, like, my experience in 1984, the people who don't know many people are the ones that do well because they're so more focused on making those connections that they didn't previously have. Like Drew knew nobody. I really didn't know that many people.
Maria in season 3 had the least connections pre-game.
Yeah.
He won. So.
Yeah, Caleb didn't really know anybody either, even though he was a returner. So I think really people who don't have those prior connections, from what I've seen in orgs, usually do better. So yeah, I think he's going to do better than what y'all are thinking.
Okay. So next up is Kevin.
That intro video was the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wait, Caleb, please don't.
Shout out to Evelyn.
I want to hear this.
I knew right away what he was doing, and I was living for it.
What did he do? I haven't seen.
He did a scene from It's Always Sunny. Like oh my god, no, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I don't think you guys understand how funny it was. I was cracking up. I was dying. Amazing. Perfect. Props to you, Kevin. You killed it. Now game related. I am worried and I'm kind of mad at you guys because I feel like you almost put him in a similar situation that you did with Surviving, where he has Billy and Tawny. And if people find out that they're in the Republic again, there's a very good chance he goes early. And it makes me mad because he is such a good player. And, I don't want him to get screwed over again because of, like, previous connections. No matter how, I think this group of 3 is more willing to work together than the previous group of 3. So if there was a time to look out for it, it would be now. Exactly. But I really hope it doesn't screw him over. I think if he can keep that under wraps, or like nobody's really worried about it, I think he has a really good shot of going far and even possibly winning. But if it gets out and people are worried about it, he's very likely a goner because I feel like he'd be the first one targeted
again. I feel like this group is more interesting. I feel like Tawny is not happy that Kevin is cast. So because I think she knows that they'll be targeted together, but she also, I think, is scared by Kevin. I don't know if they'll necessarily target each other, but I don't think they'll protect each other. I don't know. I think that with this twist, it'll be interesting because they're going to have to get people to agree to put people up. So you're not just going to get to easily nominate whoever you want. You're going to have to get people to agree. And if Billy or Tawny or even Kevin are in the power of 3, it's likely that none of the other 3 will go up if they end up deciding to work together. So I don't know. I am nervous for Kevin, but I think that he has a lot better shot in this game than he did Surviving. I predicted him early jury. I think he's going to be able to survive for a little while, but I feel like eventually the game's just going to kind of catch up to him and people aren't going to let him go any farther. So I don't know. I think he has a big potential.
I'll go next. So I am in the Republic. So I know Kevin from there. I think Kevin is one of the more just plain up intelligent people on the cast. Like straight up, like he's going to law school. He reads like a book a fucking day. He's smart. With that being said, I think he's smart. Like his intelligence is more suited for a Survivor format game. Like I know that in Surviving he was kind of just royally fucked over, but I think I honestly, and I know this is so like bad to say, it kind of like gets a bad connotation, but I think he's too smart for Big Brother because Big Brother again is a lot more on just like the social relationships rather than strategic moves. That I think he might think too much into things at times. So whereas I think he's capable of winning a game, I don't know if he would be able to do that here. I think he's also going to be like early jury. Yeah.
Kevin, for me, he's another person who I personally haven't gotten the chance to play in org with. So again, I'm just having to go off of what I hear from other people, what I myself see from like Mimi videos. Caleb, you
It's
love
so good.
the video. I, however, was just looking at it like, okay, but who are you?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're doing the scene and all that, and it's cute. It's cute. It's fun. It's original. But it's like, who are you? I don't know who he is, so I can't really have too much of opinion on how I think he'll do. The only thing I can say is if he is as smart as Megan says he is and all that, and as far as like his past relationships with people that are in this season and the worry of him being a target because of that, if he's as smart as Megan says he is, he'll find a way to get out of that situation. So I guess I'll go ahead and jump on the bandwagon and say early jury for the simple fact that he is smart. If he can figure out ways to get out of situations, I can see him going further than just early jury, possibly even finals.
I kind of agree with most of you guys. Kevin is obviously really, really funny, really strategic, really smart, and I think he's really charismatic as well. You can talk to Kevin for 10 minutes and you'll be like loving him already. So I want him to do well, and I think that he will. Out of the three people that are from the Republic, I actually disagree with Caleb. I think that Kevin might be able to wiggle himself out of it. In surviving, Kevin was not supposed to be the first boot, but right when Kevin disappeared when he was moving, or when he was on vacation, I can't remember if he was moving or
He
was
was
on
moving.
vacation.
I think he was moving.
Yeah. Right when he disappeared, that's when it got flipped on him and he couldn't get out of it. But he was not supposed to be the first boot. And for that reason, he is capable of getting himself out of sticky situations. And that's why I think the first boot out of those three would be Billy Vance. And I will get to that further down the road when we do get to Billy. But I do think that Kevin is very capable of going far. And I think he got third place in Taze. So he can back up his big brother game pretty well from what I've seen. I'm hoping he will. I'm going to say like mid jury. I could see him getting that 8th, 7th spot. So yeah.
I will add on that pretty much every game Kevin plays, he makes it far. I think surviving was kind of a first for him. There was one other, I think, Tumblr game that he got an early boot on, but he got third place in Taze. He won my season of Trinity. Like, he's not a bad player at all. I think we just didn't get to see it in surviving. Like, as Blake said, the vote got flipped on him because people were scared of an idol that was probably not even there. So yeah. And Kevin's one of those people that, like, I was against him the entire game, but I still went back and had genuine conversations with him, even though we both knew that we wanted each other out. So we still had those genuine conversations. So, okay. Next person is Cindy. Oh, and you can go first.
Yeah. Okay. Cindy is my recruit. I got her to apply. She is also my winner pick. I love her. Cindy is one of those people that I know is going to do so well. I played Tumblr Survivors Fallbard with her. That was her first org ever. And I don't know, I think she's maybe played one other since then. But other than like the other Svalbard girls, which is what people refer to us as, like Rachel and Abrielle, who are now like in the Republic and kind of really, really involved in the community. She was the one Svalbard girl that kind of like didn't catch on to that. So she doesn't have connections. And I don't even know, honestly, if she knows anybody in this cast. I know that she applied because she was like, oh my gosh, Hunter played Surviving, and she was all like, "Oh my God, Hunter's from Sequester." So she was totally fangirling over him, and I really think that's why she applied, because y'all had Hunter in Surviving. So I have no doubt in my mind. I'm not even kidding. That was why she applied. But also because I told her to. But I really think she's gonna try and work with him. Cindy is one of those where it's like, one, she's a girl, and yes, I know it's weird, but like girls, like if they're smart and social and fun, like they do well. And she's one of those.
HLC.
What? No, like she has a personality. Like she's not one of the timid kind of girls. Like I remember like the first tribal I ever saw her at in Svalbard, she was so wine drunk, and the tribal question to her was like, does that mean you're comfortable like on this tribe, like comfortable that you're safe tonight because you're getting so drunk? And she was like, I could not tell you, like I could never be more comfortable than I am right now. Like she was bold and brash, like, yes, I'm safe, I'm comfortable. Like it was awesome. She ended up getting, I want to say like 8th in Tumblr Survivor, which she like had gotten screwed over, and it was like a blindside, but like I firmly believe she would have gotten to the finals in that, and I think she's going to do well in this game. Again, she doesn't have the connections, so I think she's like, that's going to show on her end of her effort that she puts into it. She's that lovely mix of like a pretty girl, but also like quirky and weird that people in the org community I think are just attracted to, kind of like me. I think she could again easily fit into the groups, either like the pretty popular people or the outcasts. I think she could be a really cool like middle floater person. I have no doubt in my mind that she's gonna get really far in this game, and I think she very well could win like and get to the finals. I think she's getting to the finals without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with Megan. I have Cindy making finals. So I don't know. I feel like she's going to be somebody that's going to be able to maneuver her way through either side. I don't necessarily know if she's going to win, but I do think she's going to make it far. I think there's other people that I have making finals that I think might have a better case in the end than she will. I would not be mad at all if Cindy wins this game, though. Her interview was really fun. I think that she's going to be an interesting player. She was on the house call for a little while. She didn't stay on the whole time, but she did at least like make her presence known. So yeah, I don't know how she's going to do in competitions, but I'm interested to see how it goes. She already messaged Hunter and was asking if he's the Hunter from Sequester. So I hope that they work together, but I hope that she doesn't like just sheep him, because that wouldn't be very interesting. It would be very fun if we have some kind of Cindy nominating Hunter thing like we had Megan with Billy, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I have high hopes for Cindy though. So. Well, what did Blake Murphy just think about?
Okay, I just really thought like, do you remember when Sophie voted out Coach and Sophie voted, or somebody voted out somebody in South Pacific, and they held it up and they were like, Dragon Slayed. If Cindy ends up, if Cindy ends up sheeping Hunter for a little bit of time, how iconic would it be if we had a dispelling rumors moment of Cindy backstabbing Hunter? Oh my God.
I'm glad you said that, Blake, because that was actually going to be a point I was going to make about Cindy. I love the fuck out of Cindy. Even though she falsely, like, shouted me out and she met Hunter. Regardless of that, if anything, that just makes me love her even more, because it's like one of those, like, an adorable oopsie things. Like, I get this vibe from her that she's going to be so socially adept. Like, I feel like people will gravitate her, whether or not they're actually working with her, they are still going to socially gravitate to her, keeping a target off of her back. And I honestly think that if she is to work with Hunter like that, I can see her possibly sheeping Hunter, but I see her kind of being like, love you, Megan, but I see her kind of being like what I was doing with Megan last season. Like, I loved Megan, but I also saw how strong of a person she was. So I figured, you know, it's not necessarily sheeping, it's just using her strength to my ability.
How did that
Using-
turn out for you, Drew?
I mean, it did give me third, but it did give me the final 3.
All you need this time is to get to the final 3.
Yeah,
Okay?
honestly, Drew probably would have won if
Drew
this
would have
last
taken votes
season.
away from Caleb, and Drew probably could have won.
Drew would have had
Michael Davis said, "I'm going to be nasty tonight."
But yeah, I see like how Blake said, like possibly like a Sophie pulling a Dragon Slayer move. I can see her doing that. She, like I said, she seems very likable, but the way she puts off her likability, you could just kind of like tell on the inside she does not care to make moves that she needs to. But she's also smart about making them. So I see her saying it right here, right now. This is the season 5 winner, right here.
Ooh.
Dang, all right. I'm excited now.
We got 2 people saying she's gonna win.
Well,
now.
Caleb has something about
First biological female winner, too.
Okay, so I got a little inside gossip that she likes Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I was automatically sold. We're like besties for the resties now. I'm asking you to be in her pod chat. It's official. So
too late.
I loved her intro video. She came across as so sweet and so nice, which is why I'm finding it really interesting that you guys are like saying she's kind of savage too. I'm so interested because I didn't get that at all. So if that's actually how she plays, I think she is going to go really, really far because I don't think anyone's going to pick up on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to watch how she plays. And according to what you guys say, I think she will go far. Yeah, the Hunter thing does worry me. It's really easy to fall under his spell. But as long as she can stay focused, I think she'll be golden.
Sorry. I think that she seems very like socially awkward and nerdy, but those are obviously the type of people that I feel like we all gravitate towards, and like that's why I like her so much. Like I feel like she's definitely gonna go far. I could see her being an end gamer. Is she gonna make it to the finals? I don't know. Would I be mad if she won though? No, because I think that she seems really sweet, and kind of like Caleb and Megan just said, like if she does, and Drew too, if she makes those big moves, because I didn't see her being that savage type player either, but now that y'all are starting to say that stuff, that makes me kind of even more excited about her. And now I just really want that Dragon Slade moment with her and Hunter. I want her to work with Hunter so bad, and then just like cut him off at the feet, like. Did I cut out for a second?
Yeah.
Sorry. That dollar store internet, I tell you. But anyways, I really like Cindy. I hope she goes far, and I don't think she'll have a problem being social with a lot of these people.
Can I just say real quick, Blake? Thank you so much for not saying that she is going to win this season. Because every time you say that, it doesn't happen, sweetie.
Looks at Toledo, looks at Drew.
Twice.
The winner pick for surviving, so.
Also, I just want to say, like, I could also see her being a floater, but like a floater and a coaster are 2 different things. Don't get them twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like Drew, kind of. Very socially good with almost everybody. Nobody's really seeing her as a threat. I think she's winning this game.
Like Drew had the capability of turning on you two if he needed to. He just didn't need to. So.
Yeah.
I was going home at Final Four if Drew won that POV. We all knew that.
Yeah.
It's only. Then I could have taken Nathan to the final 2. Shit.
Okay. Moving on. We have
little one.
Heldston, who is Jay Heldston, some kind of numbers, I don't know, on 10 gauged. He is our oldest person on the cast. This is his.
I'm sorry, who?
Jason. So.
Is he the teacher?
You guys need the picture because I can show you this one.
I remember him.
So Jason is new to orgs, as I just said. He's a very good player from what I've seen. He plays stars a lot on 10 Gaged. He makes it pretty far. This past week he was in one, and actually Hunter was in the game too. So I don't know if that connection will have any impact. I know that Hunter left really early this week though. So I feel like Jason's going to do really well, in my opinion. I think that socially, even though he is older than most of these people, I think he's going to do well socially. He was on the call pretty much the whole time, and he was getting along with most of these people. Dare I say it, Jason is my winner pick. So he had a really good interview. I really liked him. He gave me good vibes. So I think that he has a good shot. If he can get used to like this format of a game, like an org game, I think he'll do very well. So I don't think he'll have a problem with the actual like gameplay. I think it might just be like the competitions or something like that might mess him up. But
I do want to say this much as far as the comps with him. He did say because of his age, you know, like endurance comps, he's probably not going to do well at all in. But he did say that he was good at like puzzles and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it really just kind of, I don't know, with him, I think he could possibly make it far. You know, yeah, he might be the oldest person in this cast. But when it comes to Big Brother, like, we've seen many seasons before. Age really doesn't matter when it comes to that. As long as you know how to get along with the house guests and stuff, you know, if anything, they'll want you to go far because you're older. You know, it's not like Survivor where it's like, oh, the old person isn't, you know, helping in the challenges, so let's get them out. Like, Big Brother is completely different. So I don't see them using his age against him. He seems slightly relatable. I don't know. I see him making early jury, honestly.
I'll also say really quick, he is a teacher. He's a 7th grade teacher, so he kind of knows how to get along with younger people. Obviously, this is different than a bunch of 12-year-olds, but go back to season 1, he might have done good. So I do think that will help him, that he is a teacher. And we love teachers around here. So.
Sarah Abramowitz.
No,
That's
please
what
not come
I
for
think,
heart
like,
surgeon Sarah like that ever again.
That's what I think, like, orgs in the real show, like, differ from each other because older people stand a better chance in orgs because they can actually, like, have an easier way of being social with people.
This is also an older cast for us, too.
That's true. I really like Jason. I feel like he's going to go far. I think he's also an end gamer. However, I could see him getting to that 4th place and people being like, oh, this is a final 3. This guy is social. This guy is in good with the jury. We got to cut him. So I'm going to say it right now. Jason's my final boot prediction. I think that he's going to be really social with these people. However, my main concern is with a bunch of these 10 gauge people, they always come in from playing like stars or group games, playing too hard. You can't play stars in an org the same. You can't play group games in an org the same because it's just not going to work out. Orgs are more...
They're long term.
Yeah, they're not like...
More time consuming or time demanding, really.
Right. And if you play too hard, you're going to get caught. You're going to get called out for it and you're going to go home. So I'm just hoping that he is not one of those people. He did say that he likes to, in his interview, if I remember correctly, he did say that he likes to find a group of people and stick with them for a while. So I think that he will be a loyal person. However, I don't think he's going to be afraid to make that move when the time comes. So I do have high hopes for him. However, I do think he's going to get cut at Final 4.
I think he could also end up in either of those categories that we put. Like, I think he would be more like an outcast type person, but I feel like he would fit with, like, I think he might work with like Hunter and Justin and Nick. Like, I think he might do that. I don't know. I think we'll have to see how the game shapes out. But
It might come off a little shady, but thinking about it, he kind of gives me Cliff Hogs vibes. I mean, it's not
Lick's
bad.
mouth hit the floor.
It did make it far, but I don't know. I feel like he might not make the smartest decisions for him. And if he does, just like you did say, Blake, you feel like he'll get 4th place because he's so socially adept.
Don't say that, because I hated Cliff Hog the Third. I hated him. I could not stand him. I thought he was stupid.
Was stupid, but
He was. Holly should have
I
got.
was off camera. I was trying to find an outlet for my computer to charge. But okay, so Jason, again, I haven't watched the videos yet because I fucking suck, but whatever, that gives me a different perspective. So I just look at it as a positive that I haven't seen these videos. From what you guys are saying like, my first thought when you're like, he's the oldest one in the cast and he's a 10-gauger, I was like, these are things that don't go together. Because like, as we know, 10 gauge is like, if you're 20, you're literally a grandma. So I immediately got like a weird vibe just thinking about the fact that he is older and is like actively on 10 gauge. To me, that's weird.
Big name on 10 gauge.
Is he TV level?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Is Tara G still engaged?
Not really. She left.
But yeah, so I feel like it could be weird, and again, like the social thing, I think it could go either way, that he could do really well socially, or he could just be kind of weird. But like, even though I think it could go either way, I think the end result would still be the same. And actually, I was thinking this before y'all talked, but I agree with Blake. I think the end result will be the same. I think he could easily be like a 4th placer. Because again, I was thinking about either he's so socially adept, he does well, and then they're like, fuck, we have to cut him. Or he's one of those that just kind of like is weird and along for the ride, kind of like a Nathan, like we don't really know much about it, like, but like he's chill and we'll keep him and then we'll cut him at 4. So I really do think he could make it that far. Whether it would be for a good reason or a bad reason, I don't know yet. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I'm interested to see how he interacts with these people, considering he's an older 10-gauger. I think that could make for weird patterns of, I don't know, socializing.
I'm gonna kind of go off Megan. I think I do think it's gonna be either good or bad, but I think it's gonna be kind of mixed. I think he's gonna get really good like interactions with a lot of the cast, and I feel like another part of the cast is really not gonna vibe with him at all. And I think it's just really gonna depend on which side has the power, and I could see him going early if it goes bad for him, but I do think he has the capability, just based off what you guys said, because I don't know him. Based off what you guys said, I do think he would have the capability to get out of a situation, even if it did go poorly for him. So I do see him going decently far. Do I see him making 4th or close to the end winner? Not really, but that could just because I don't know him that well. I've only seen his Meet Me video, so I'm thinking early to mid-jury.
Okay. So next we have Tawny. Okay, so I will talk about Tawny. I love Tawny. Tawny and I got really close in Trinity. This poor girl, if she gets 6th place, I'm gonna feel so bad because she got 6th place in Trinity, then she got 6th place in Taze. If she gets 6th place here, I'm just gonna feel so bad for her.
Good curse.
Tawny is making it really far in this game. I think that she has connections because she's not a 10-gauger, but she's friends with a lot of 10-gaugers. So she can easily connect with the 10-gauge people, or she can go connect with the other people. I think that her and Billy are going to work well together. I don't necessarily think that they're going to keep Kevin around very long. I predicted that Tawny will either be the last person voted out or she'll make it to the end. And I think if she makes it to the end, then she's going to win this game. I more leaned towards her getting 4th, though. Tawny has been excited for this game, but she's also very nervous because of the 3 thing. because Taze just did a number 3 twist, and so she's very nervous about that. I don't think she needs to be, because I don't think it's going to be as bad as she thinks it could be. But yeah, I definitely think Tawny's making it very far in this game. She was on the house call, making connections. I think she might have been a little too much of a presence on that call. She was she was kind of at the head of the conversation, which I don't necessarily think is the best, but she also wasn't like the one doing all the talking. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how she does, but I have high hopes for Tawny. Go, Megan.
Yay! So I've played with Tawny multiple times. I've played Whodunit with her, which was interesting. That's where I first met her. And I also played Taste 3 with her for, a short 3 rounds, but it's fine. Tawny's in the Republic. Tawny's very social. Tawny is definitely one of my friends. She's a stoner, which is great. She's friendly, social. She's not a huge comp threat, but I do think she, again, is one of those really strong social players. I feel bad saying this, but I think she's going to get really far in the game. I do think she'll get around 6th, 5th place. Those are kind of like the 2 places where like some people who usually do really well are kind of robbed in games. And that's kind of really, unfortunately, just what happens for Tawny. And I think a lot of it is the fact that she can't really win a competition to save herself, because by the time people realize her threat level, it's not really like she can usually do anything about it. So I do think she's... What?
I said me and Caleb are waving from 5th place in Trinity. So.
Yeah, so I do think she's going to get really far in this game. Hold on, my mom's taking my temperature to make sure I'm...
Hi, Mama Humphreys.
Good.
Is she good?
Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, I do think Tawny's going to get really far, but I think she is going to get robbed in like 6th place, unfortunately. And I hate saying that. I hate manifesting that into the universe. Unless something crazy changes in terms of her strategy. From what I've seen of her in other games, I don't think so though, because she kind of usually tends to play the same every time. I think she will get that far, but not to the end.
I somewhat agree with y'all. As far as like one more Megan about her placement, I do see her getting 5th and 6th. God bless, especially if she was to get 6th place this time again. But there's something about Tawny, like she's super likable, so like I expect her to make it really far. But I see something in her that I don't know, like I feel like she would be kind of like me. Like I wasn't very well in comps, but when I needed to, for the most part, I won the motherfuckers. I feel like I see her being able to dig and really winning when she needs to. Whether that be like she's on the block at Final 6 and wins the veto to take herself off or what have you. I see her being that kind of person to do that. I can see her being in finals. Yeah, I can still see her being in finals. Against Cindy, I think Cindy would possibly win. But I still see Tawny being in finals.
We stand for females in the finals.
I absolutely love and adore Tawny. Tawny's one of my favorite people. Like, she's one of those people who I could talk one-on-one with all day long and, like, not get sick of it.
Like, that's a lot more than talking about Tawny.
And she's also a stoner, which is a plus.
But
she is a very, very sociable person. And like I said, it's not hard to have a long conversation with her because you don't run out of things to say. It doesn't get awkward. Like, conversation can keep going. And that's what I like most about her. I think Tawny could also make the finals. I have a lot of hope with her making the finals. However, I know that she's very anxious about the game, and sorry, I was reading a text message I got across the screen on my computer, so sorry. I think she's very anxious about the game, which, cross my fingers, doesn't end badly for her. She can get past that. She can win some competitions, make those big moves. And I think out of the 3 People's Republic people that are in the game, if they do get caught, I think that she is the most likely to last long term. So yeah, I have a lot of high hopes for her, and I hope she makes it far.
Quick interjection. Speak of the devil, I just got a Snapchat from Tawny asking to be in her prod chat. Unfortunately, I cannot because I'm already in one. But I'm just saying, speak of the devil, there she is. She's great. We love her. Stan Tawny.
Okay, so I know Tawny. Like, I know a lot about Tawny because obviously all of my friends are really good friends with her, like all of you guys. I, however, have never had a one-on-one with Tawny. Like, I don't talk to her like that. And I was like, what's the big deal? Like, what does this girl have that everyone, like, wants to be friends with her? And I watched her Meet Me video, and I'm like, I get it. I get it. She's so nice. And, like, she's just, I don't know, she just has this energy about her that you, like, want to get to know. And she did talk a lot about being socially awkward, but that's not how I know her at all. I mean, maybe she is socially awkward, but I still think she's socially adept. Like, she has talks to you guys all the time, and like Michael said, she was leading the conversation on the call, so I don't think that's going to be a hindrance to her at all. I see her going really, really far, because I know she's played other games really, really well. Hopefully, I'm hoping she's learned from her past mistakes, and she can correct it to launch herself from 6th place all the way to the end. And I think she will have a really good chance of winning if she does make the end.
God, please do not give her 6th place again. That'd be
I do
so
think
horrible.
that when she says socially awkward, she means it, because I think she's kind of socially awkward in the same sense that maybe I am. Like, I think she's socially awkward in person, but like with this online communication with the orgs and like calls with people, she really thrives. Same with me. So I think she's gonna thrive socially in this game, even if like her as a person is like socially awkward and she doesn't have that many friends. Like, this is kind of like her place. She has all the friends in the public. She's always on the calls. Like, yeah.
The thing with her social awkwardness too is like she has a common social awkwardness that a lot of people in the org community have. So it's like, yeah, she might be socially awkward, but that's just one thing that she can use and does use to relate to a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna hold her back at all. I think she's gonna do really, really well, and I am rooting for her.
We love all being socially awkward in person.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that the motherfucking tea?
So next
up, we're all just looking at each other.
Next up is Billy Vance. So Billy Vance played Surviving 1984, and he didn't do so well. I think he's definitely one that's looking for redemption in this game. He applied to be in season 4 and did not get casted, and I definitely wanted him as soon as we started casting for season 5. I think Billy's a really good player. He did get 2nd place in Pays. He said it was a fluke in his Meet Me video. I don't necessarily know if I agree or not. But he also had Livingston in that game, and he had some other friends in that game. So I don't know. I think that him and Tawny are definitely going to work together. As I said with Tawny, I think that they're going to have to like almost sacrifice Kevin. Like, that's what's going to have to happen, I think. Because if they don't, I think that one of them two could end up getting the boot. But I predicted Billy to make finals. I think him and Tawny in finals is kind of interchangeable. I think the two of them are going to work well together. I think it's just about them not getting caught. Because if they get caught as a duo too early, then they're going to have a problem. But if they're able to keep that under wraps at least until jury, they could have a good shot. So I think Billy's going to do really well. I don't know if he will necessarily win the game because he doesn't necessarily have the best jury management, but I guess we'll have to see. So.
Billy, for me, I didn't get a chance to play with him in Surviving. We were never on the same tribe before he got voted out. But I still did play with him on a 10-gauge group game. And when I watched his Meet Me video, and he was saying how, oh, I got second place in Taze, but it was a fluke. Billy was not fooling me 1 minute. I know how Billy is. Billy is very strategic. He is very smart. He knows when to make moves when it's needed to. And I think that's why he got out so early in surviving, because a lot of people in that cast, especially on the tribe he got voted out, knew that's how he is. If a good amount of this cast doesn't know how Billy plays, he's going to go very far, maybe even finals. If a lot of this cast do knows how he plays, easy pre-jury. I see it right off the bat. I see him, he kind of gives me kind of like, if the players do know the kind of gameplay he has, I see him being the JJ of the season. He's going to go slightly far into it, but people are going to see the threat that he's going to be come jury time and get a very close but unfortunate pre-jury spot.
Can I add something kind of on or off of that? I actually don't agree when you say that he's strategic. Well, I mean, he is strategic, but on the same time, like, I think he plays with his heart too much, and he doesn't always play with his head. Like in Surviving, for example, and in Tay as an example, like, he knows that he needs to cut his friends, but I think he is scared of the repercussions and what's going to happen afterwards, and so it kind of prevents him from doing it. And well, I think
maybe we just had like different like Billies then, because like in that group game that we played, like he had no problem cutting his friends in that. So
yeah, like, we're all friends here, but we ain't afraid to cut each other in games. Like, sometimes it gotta happen. And I think that if he goes in, like, he's saying pre-game that he's not afraid to cut people in the Republic. Will he cut Tawny though? I don't see it happening. I really don't.
Okay.
Will he cut Kevin? Maybe that's more of a realistic possibility, but I hope he shows that he's not afraid to cut people in the Republic, because I think if he does that, maybe it will actually advance his game. However, I do see him being the first one to go out of the three. I disagree about the whole Kevin going first thing. I think it will be Billy.
Here's the thing about, I kind of want to jump real quick onto what you said about Billy not wanting to cut Tawny. I do see him possibly having a plan to cut Tawny. However, I see Tawny kind of foiling his plans and cutting him first. He can cut her.
I think Tawny is the most socially aware of the three, and I think she will figure out if one of them is going to turn on her, and I think she'll be able to hold it around.
I do love Billy though. Like, I think he's a really amazing person. I think sometimes he just plays a little too much with his emotions, more so than fully strategic. Not saying that he's not strategic, because I do agree that he is strategic.
Well, from what it sounds like, then in a way, it's kind of like he either knows how to be on one side or the other side. He just hasn't figured out how to be in the middle then.
Yeah.
Because either he's playing too strategic with his head, or he's playing too emotional with his heart. He just hasn't kind of found that middle. So, I mean, if he can find that middle, then, hey, I can see him making finals.
By the way, Tawny said to tell you guys to go easy on her because she's fragile. So,
we all love you, Tawny. I guess I'll go next about Billy. I'll start off by saying I absolutely adore Billy. We played my first game of Surviving together. Didn't end well for either of us. But he was always really loyal to me, at least for the short time that we were together, to an extent. Not fully, but to an extent. And I don't know, I've also played Trinity with him. It was kind of two different experiences. In Surviving, I know he had a bad rep as like a leaker. He kept on leaking things to people, and it came back to bite him in the ass, and I think that was a big reason he ended up going home. And I think the same thing kind of happened in Trinity, where he wasn't necessarily leaking things, but I think he was working with the good majority of the people. But I think he handled it a lot better, ensuring to where people weren't like worried about it. They all wanted to work with Billy. So I think it's kind of, as Drew and Blake said, I kind of think it's either or. Like, he knows how to play socially, and he knows how to play strategically and use the social connections to move forward and everything. But I also think there's part of him who he can either overplay or underplay. Like, I think a big reason he also didn't go far in surviving was he couldn't cut Maddie and Julian, his two closest friends, and then they turned around and cut him the very next week. So I think it can go either or for Billy. This season, I don't see him going very far, and it pains me so hard to say that, but I don't see him making it super far. I really hope he proves me wrong, because I want to see him go all the way to the end, but I'm not feeling it.
I pretty much agree with what everyone else has said. Billy's one of those characters to where, like, he's great as a friend. In a game, his personality sometimes comes off a little too brash and a little too forward. So I think I basically agree with everything you guys have said. I think it really is one of those, like, you love him or hate him kind of things. And in terms of, like, how far he's going to go, I really do think that he's either going to get really fucking far and possibly in finals, or he's going to be, like, one of the first couple boots. And I really don't think there's going to be any in between. I'm leaning more towards Caleb on this, where I think he's going to be a fairly early boot. I do think he would be the first of the three Republic to get cut if they get caught and found out. But again, too, he has the capabilities that I think if he doesn't become one of the first couple boots, he will make it to the end. So again, either way, I don't think there's any in the middle there for him. So I guess it's good, but also not good.
Also, Billy did play the 1984 mini, and he didn't make it that far in that. So I don't know if that will be a reflection.
That was because of random.org, though.
Yeah,
that was literally because Keaton's vote didn't land on him.
So next we have Gianna. I guess we started.
Was she one of the Ascendance alumni?
Yes.
Okay.
Gianna played Ascendance. I heard that she wasn't necessarily active in Ascendance. I feel like she's going to be some days it's kind of a floater, maybe a coaster. I don't know. I hope not, though. I think that she has it in her to make big moves. Like she said, she's not afraid to make big moves. I want to see that put into action. I don't know if she's necessarily somebody that will get much power in the game. I think she's going to have to rely more on her social abilities. So I don't know. I think that Gianna will make it far. I have her late jury, but I think that she'll be cut because I think she'll be a social threat, and I don't think people are going to want to sit next to her in the finals. So I feel like she's going to kind of get the same edit that like Lauren got in in 1984 Dead Man Walking. Megan.
Okay, hi. I have played a game with Gianna before. I played I Love Money Season 5 with Gianna. She was one of those in that game. To be fair, for anyone watching this in the future and anyone that's here now, I Love Money is a very intense game. Lots of drama, not really a lot of strategy. So just a lot of dumb shit going down. But she kind of was the person who, like, she cried a lot. I'm not going to lie. She cried a lot in I Love Money. Like, basically, anytime, like, things kind of went wrong, like, she was in tears. She was not for the drama, not for the craziness of that game. She was not about that. So I think, I don't think she's capable of, like, big moves or, like, dispelling rumors or shit like that. Like, I don't think she's capable of that, mostly because she is such an emotional, just person that does things from her heart. I think, again, I agree with Michael. I think she's going to be more of a coaster, not really making moves, kind of like will go along with people that she gets along well with socially. I think, again, that will get her fairly far in the game if she is not inactive, because she does do well socially. I honestly was thinking the same thing about her being kind of like a Lauren placement, where, like, not really didn't really bring anything of value to the game, but still like a good presence to have had in the season. So I could see her making jury. If she's inactive, though, I could see her being an early boot. But if she's active and social, I could see her making jury. I just don't really see her doing much in terms of like strategic game moves, unfortunately. I think she's a little too emotional for that.
Y'all got me worried now. She talked such a big game in her Meet Me video. I was ready for it. I was ready for her to bring it on, but now you guys got me worried. I really hope she is some bite and not just all bark, because I was convinced I wouldn't want to go up against her, but maybe that's just her strategy. Maybe she just like said that in the Meet Me video so nobody would cross her. I don't know. I'm not saying I hope she gets into a fight, but like I don't know. I kind of want to see it, and I want to see her hold her own. I hope she doesn't cry. That makes me sad. We do share love for the Pink Power Ranger, so there's that. But I think she's gonna get to jury. I really hope what you guys are saying isn't true for this game. I really hope she is able to make those moves, and she's not afraid to, and she's not afraid of the drama. I do agree. I forgot who it was, but I think somebody mentioned that she's probably going to have a hard time getting the power herself. That part I do agree with, so I think it is going to be harder for her to make those moves. But I still hope she finds a way to pull it off.
Real quick side note, can you reveal when, because you know the main twist is that it's the power of 3. There's technically 3 HOHs. When is that ending?
Are we saying it?
I don't see why not. If you guys don't say anything, then
It's gonna last through the pre-jury, and then once jury starts, it's gonna be over. So, which is pretty predictable, I think. But
Okay, because that changes my outlook on Gianna a little bit. I see her. I love Lauren, and I know she's probably gonna watch this at the end of the season. She does give me Lauren vibes, but with one major difference, at least in the 1984 variety. I see Gianna actually winning comps. Maybe it'd be like luck comps, but I do see her possibly winning comps and being able to kind of own up to what she said, just like with what Caleb said, not just be all bark, but have some bite to it. I can see her possibly making big moves. I do see her making jury, and that's why I asked that question. Because if she was to kind of be in power pre-jury with the twist, I don't foresee it necessarily going the way that she would want it to. And I'm hoping that she doesn't cry because of that. But because if she does, I think that might actually hurt her a little bit. But if she does make the jury portion, like I feel like she's going to, I can see her still winning like an HOH or something and being able to make moves that she needs to make. Do I see her making finals? No. But I do see her being able to make at least some moves to help her.
she was people on the house call, so she was making her presence known there. But it was also a little awkward, but she was still there though. So.
I feel like that's kind of like with every game though. Like the first initial call is very, very awkward. You kind of got to get familiar with people. But I do kind of agree with what y'all say about Gianna. Gianna and I have been really good friends for a long time, so I want to root for her. However, she is definitely very emotional in games. When I got rocked out of Ascendant, she messaged me and said she was crying. So like she's a really good, kind of hearted person. And I think a lot of people will appreciate that. However, when she is working, she is not the most social person. So I'm hoping that she kind of amps that up a little bit and kind of works on her social game this time. But yeah, I think that she could go far. I don't know if it's going to be the good type of going far or the coasting type of going far, but I really am. I'm a cheerleader for Gianna. I hope she goes far.
And Billy Stevens recruited her, and we know that Billy Stevens does well with his recruits, so.
Next is Nick Benner.
Can I ask how many are left? How many?
We're halfway through. I think we have 9 more.
Please start.
I'm gonna have to start saying less for these people. Sorry, second half of the cast.
Let me just say, Nick Benner, the first time I ever met this boy, I fell in love. Not like that. I just mean like as far as his personality. He is one of those people where he's very blunt and very honest. He's not afraid to say what he feels and is willing to deal with the consequences after. That is the kind of person that I respect. That's the kind of person that I am. If I feel a certain way, I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind whenever I need to. Now for the bad part. I think that might end up being his downfall with this cast this season. Because there is a lot of more socially awkward people in this cast. He might honestly kind of scare them away a little bit with him being so honest and blunt. So if he turns it down, I can see him possibly going decently far. The furthest I would see him going with him turning down his bluntness is, if not early jury, mid jury. But if he doesn't tone that down, like I don't really foresee him doing, because that's just who he is, I see him being pre-jury, unfortunately, even though I do want him to do well.
I mean, I agree with Drew. I have the same concerns that I did for him in Surviving, where I think he likes things to go a certain way, and if it doesn't, I think that kind of gets to him a bit, and also, yeah, his bluntness. I don't want to knock him for that, because that's who he is, and I do love how he is just so unapologetically himself. And I agree, he's one of the like funniest people that I've ever seen play an org. Like I just think he's super fun and outgoing. But it does come at the cost of him being super straightforward. And I don't think the cast is going to take that very well, and I do think he's going to rub some people the wrong way. I see him being a very early boot. I hope I'm wrong, because I know he's a good game player. Like, strategically, he's
Hold on,
very,
I have an
very
interruption
good.
really quick. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Bitch?
Fuck you, Bill Humphreys!
Okay. You can continue.
Oh, so good.
Why? Why? Why?
Why is that the fucking Brad Culpepper of 1984?
Fuck you, Brad Culpepper. Fuck you, Megan Humphreys. Ugh, I'm over it.
You can continue, Caleb. I'm sorry.
But I want to see him go far, because I know he's a good game player. I just think sometimes people don't, like, they don't always agree with how upfront he is. And I think that is going to be his downfall this game, sadly. But I really hope he proves me wrong. I want to see him go far, and I'm rooting for him. I just don't see it.
I want to go next.
Again.
Fuck the power of 3. I disagree with both of you hoes. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't actually personally know Nick Benner. I know, like, even before, in terms of like seeing who applied and hearing like, oh, he applied, being like, who the fuck is that? I didn't even pay attention to him in Surviving, but also I'm a bitch. But with what you guys are saying with his bluntness and just like his personality, I see a lot of Megan in him in that sense. Because I'm the same way, very straightforward, always kind of like, you kind of always know what I'm thinking. And like a lot of times in Big Brother games that works out well, because it's like you're not seen as like a snaky person, although you might be seen as a villain, I guess. You're not
Nice, show it, baby.
I guess, I don't know. But you're not really seen as like a snaky person or shady because you are so blunt and straightforward, bitch. You can't fucking copy my eye roll. So I personally think, I know it's like weird because I'm going against y'all, but I personally think it's gonna go well for him. I think, again, I could see a lot of like me in him. So like if he gets those social relationships and has like those real personal connections with people, they're gonna love him regardless of how brash or how blunt he is. I think he can get really far in this game. I'm foreseeing him being like a 6th or 5th placer as well. Kind of like Tawny. I think he can do really well in this, and I know y'all aren't thinking it, but I'll be rooting for him.
It's not that we're thinking it.
Yeah.
It's more like we're just kind of basing off of the cast, like everybody in this cast. It's like if it was like a different cast, I could see him. I still want him to go far. Like me and Caleb still want him to make it really far. It's just,
I think he'll do it. I think he'll pull it out, and I think he'll pull it out through like confidence. Not gonna lie, like I think he'll pull it out and get really far in the game just solely through confidence. Even if it gets to a point where they hate him and want him out, I think he'll be able to save himself again to get at least like.
Oh, he's really the Megan Humphreys of this season.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the 3 people who win HOH, can they not participate the next week? Like all 3 of them cannot?
That is correct.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's gonna make it a lot more interesting. Yeah, and just to kind of go off that too, is that I don't think Nick's gonna change who he is just because that's not what he does. And again, that's one of the reasons why I do like watching him play so much. I really just think it's gonna depend on how the cast reacts to it. And so just depending on how they react, he's either gonna go really, really far or he's gonna be an early boot. I just have an inkling it's going to be really boot.
Okay, so Nick Benner, the person, is very different from Nick Benner, the player. I absolutely love and adore Nick Benner, the person. Nick Benner, the player, you definitely have to get used to. I feel like you have to have known him for a while before it's like not as distasteful when he goes off on you. And I think some of these people are not going to have that. If he tries to go off on them, don't think it's going to work with some people in this cast. However, I do think that he is very strategically strong, and I think he can get what he wants, but when he doesn't get what he wants, watch out. But yeah, I have high hopes for him, but I could see him either, I think he's going to make the jury, just not sure how far he's going to go after that. I'll say 9th or 10th, like kind of early to mid jury.
I'm interested to see Nick play Big Brother because I think he was too trusting in surviving. He really latched onto Keaton, I think. He was not anywhere on Keaton's list of people.
Was anybody?
Well, Keaton's Keaton.
True.
We can have a whole entire cast assessment on Keaton.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I put Nick late pre-jury. I could also see him getting early jury, though. I don't know. I'm interested to see how he translates his game. He definitely wants redemption from surviving, for sure. So I think he's going to try a lot harder. Though he also called the house call really boring. And so I don't know how he's going to take these people. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
You have one supporter, Nick Benner. I don't know you, but I love you.
No, we all support him.
I know, but like you have one person who believes you'll do it.
I love Nick, but he's one of those people, like I said, he's like me. He's not going to change who he is for an org. He's very honest, very blunt. He's not going to change that for this org. So if something doesn't go his way, he is going to say something, and it probably will rub people the wrong way.
Okay, so the next person is Sam Yu.
It's going to sound so rude. British or not British?
Not British.
Okay, thank you.
This has also been a recruit, correct? Billy Stevens recruited this Sam. Okay.
How many
I don't know
Billy
this
recruit?
Sam, but
Fuck you.
Megan's feeling the love tonight.
by a vote of 8-1. Fuck you, Megan. Oh, wait, but that wasn't a thing then. Anyway, okay. So Sam Yu, I know, is one of Billy's recruits. I don't know him. I don't think he's a 10-gauger, is he? Because he comes from the Facebook community, correct? No. So I don't know him, and honestly, I don't know how many people he does know. But again, not having connections, I think, is definitely a plus for somebody. And from what I've heard from Billy Stevens about him is that he's incredibly smart, incredibly strategic, and kind of one of those where, like, you don't really suspect them until it's too fucking late. So I can kind of see him being like a Caleb kind of player where, like, people are going to love him and then, like, they're not going to realize that he's actually capable of, like, doing smart things until, like, it's way at the end and then they can't do anything about it. Because they might just see him as, like, some drunk idiot who can't turn on his Xbox, you know? Like, I don't know. So I really think that Sam Yu is going to go far just based on Billy's perception of him. And Billy, I'm not going to lie, like, Billy, not the greatest game player, but he's really good at picking out other great game players. Me for one. So I really think that actually Sam Yu's going to get pretty far. I could see him making finals. If he gets the right connections and the right relationships. Billy Stevens. Okay, fuck you, Billy Stevens. But I can see Sam making finals. I think he's going to be one of those, like, good middle, like, not part of, like, the pretty popular people, but not, like, too awkward to where you can't communicate, like, that good balance, kind of like Cindy. So I can see him making finals or far in the game.
Didn't Billy have, like, a couple of people he said he recruited?
Yeah, Caitlyn, Gianna, Sam Yu.
Was that 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's any consolation, Billy is, like, screaming that Sam Yu is going to win this game from the rooftops.
Yeah.
So that must mean something. It must mean he's a decent game player. I've never met Sam, but in his Meet Me video, he came across just nice and, like, genuine, easy to get along with. So I do agree. I think that's going to help him a lot, coupled with the fact that apparently he's a really great game player. I do think he has the capability of making it to the end. I can't really say too much more because I don't know anything about him, but I do think he is going to go far.
So Sam Yu,
Michael said power of 2.
Sam, in his interview, said there was at one point that he won, like, 4 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, Billy told me that.
Yeah. So I definitely think Sam's gonna make it far. I have him getting 5th. I think that's kind of where I see him landing. I think he's gonna be a very social player, and I think they're gonna cut him right before the finals. I don't know. I have high hopes for Sam. It'd be very interesting if we get another Sam in the winner's circle. So, and we have a 1/9 chance of getting that. So, it'd be interesting to see that happen. So.
Yeah, Sam, for me, he had a very bubbly personality. Something that's just kind of like, I don't want to say he has one that you kind of gravitate to, but it's kind of nice to have around. I do see him making it far. If he can show some physical prowess, I see him making it very far. If he kind of just relies a little on
Sam arrived at 1984, power of 3.
Sorry.
He said Sam Uribe or whatever his last name is the
Sam
winner of 1984 power.
Yeah.
Billy really thinks he's gonna win. Of his 3 recruits, Billy's
really, and see, and that's the thing. Like, him winning 4 seasons, like, that is something big. So obviously he was doing something right if he won 4 back to back. But I don't know. Can he do it again? I feel like it also has to do with casting. You know, it really depends on the cast.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Maybe this is a strong cast. Like, I personally don't know who's casted for the other seasons that he won back to back to back to back. But this is a strong cast that you have. So if he can hold a flame to every single person here, he deserves to win. Do I personally see him being able to with every single person in this cast? No, I do see him being a, if not sixth, fifth placer this season. But he could prove me wrong. So.
So I really love Sam. Every time I played with Sam, he is such that bubbly personality that y'all are talking about. However, that's what lures everybody in, and he is the fucking silent assassin that is on top of the building, ready to snipe your ass at any moment. He's so good. Like, he uses that personality to literally lure you in and make you like him.
Caleb Reed. What did I say?
I don't know her.
He's the Caleb Reed of the season. Is he gonna win? I don't know. But
I mean, the moment I saw Caleb Reed sitting next to a toilet, being like throwing up, that's when I knew I would like Caleb Reed.
Oh, shut up! Stop talking! Stop talking!
The moment Caleb Reed appreciated but didn't reciprocate, that's when I knew I would like Caleb Reed.
Why did I think that Blake was calling Megan a toilet? That's what I thought you were saying. What?
Okay, you know what? I take everything back I said in the past. I'm glad I did not make Final Two now. I would not want to be compared to a toilet. Thank you.
The library is officially open. Anyways, I think that Sam's one of my winner picks, hands down. I think he's capable.
One of? You can have more than one?
I honestly think there's so many people capable of winning this season that it's so hard to pick like one.
At the end, though, we should all five again go and say who like our number one winner pick is.
Yeah, because I already passed mine. I wasn't realizing we were doing that.
Well, at the end, we should do it.
I'm pretty sure me and Megan have the same
I'm not changing, but yeah.
I don't think any of you guys have done your draft teams yet, but you guys need to go through and do that. Me and Blake hilariously have 3 out of 4 the same, but let's move on because it's getting late. So next we'll move on to Sam T. Poor Sam T. I think that his time zone is going to mess him up in this game for sure. Everybody is
right. He's the only one in the UK.
Yes, he's the only person not from the United States. I think that could mess him up. He is one of the people, unfortunately, I'm putting as one of my first boot predictions. I think if he's not an early boot, I think that he's going to make it like to almost the end, if not the end. So it's, you guys, why are you guys looking at me like this? Like,
wait, cue the Drew picture of the.
Keep going.
I think he's either going to be really early boot or he's going to be dragged to the end, kind of like Nathan. I think it'll be kind of like that, where he's going to be.
Not every British guy being Nathan.
But he's not going to have a game, or he's going to be an early boot. I hope he proves me wrong, though. He's also a teacher, so I think he has that, he has that where he can connect with younger people, but I don't know.
I do not
like I was nuts, and I don't understand why.
Here's the tea. I do not like that you just compared him to Nathan. The only thing that him and Nathan have in common is their accent, and even then, Sam T takes the cake on that one. However, back to just him, period. He is making finals, period.
Mom!
One of the...
Mom! Megan's mother for season 6. Thank you.
To quote Jack Walsh from last season, who cares about time zones? Sam is not going to let that affect him in this game. I can tell you that right now. I can tell. Billy never let his time affect him whenever he plays orcs. Sam is going to be that same person. I am a big fan of Sam T. I see him making finals. How he gets there is not. It's kind of questionable, but I still see him making it there.
Drew, it's time to take your hood off.
Whether or not he makes it because of the social aspect, or if he
Went
makes,
off 7 months later.
Y'all are being rotted tonight.
It's because we started this night by drinking alcohol, and it's just gonna he's not amused.
Drew's exact thoughts right now are "fuck y'all." The look on his face could kill somebody.
my face is because a certain somebody keeps calling a chat that I'm in.
Just
So while I'm speaking, but yes, like I was saying though, Sam T is making finals, whether or not it's because of his social skills that I can tell that he has. He's definitely making finals. That's all.
Sam. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Maggie.
I'm gonna disagree with Drew, and I'm gonna agree with Michael more on this. I think regardless of how he actually does, the fact that he is the only non-American, and thus like the only person who's in a different time zone, I think in games it doesn't matter if you're like from the UK or from Australia or whatever, but if you're the only one that has a weird time zone, I think that really is difficult just to deal with in the first place. I agree with Michael. I think solely because of that, that he's probably going to be a really early boot, first or second or third. Unfortunately, I mean, unless he just completely fucks up his sleep schedule to talk to these people, because like these people, you know, like orgers in the US, they'll stay up till fucking 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
it is quarantine, and he's a teacher, and it's
right.
So
Right. I mean, he has a lot of time, so if he feels like staying up until 5 in the morning just to talk to these people who aren't going to be active until midnight, because I'm telling you, like, people aren't going to be active until like midnight. If he does that, he could have a shot, but I think unless he completely changes and fucks up his like actual schedule, I think it's going to screw him over, and I think he will be an early boot. So, sorry, Drew. I agree with Michael.
shout out to Napolito, by the way.
It's fine. It's cool. It's not the first time you picked a more likable male than me. So.
Ooh.
Anywho,
I've gotten used to it.
Comment.
Even though, just remember, it would have been 9-0.
Bitch, no, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. Bitch, it would have been 5-4 at best. It would have been 5-4 at best.
Oh, it would have been a 9-0 though, because I changed my decision last minute, very, very last minute.
Oh, I thought you were talking about if I had taken you to the final. Oh.
Let's get back to this power.
Thank you for the one vote.
We are talking about Sam T, correct?
Yeah.
Unresolved trauma. It's fine.
Sam T, I also agree that I feel like his time zone will work against him. And I think it's going to be his biggest enemy in the game. I think he definitely has potential, and he was one that Sam T is actually one that I really, really fought for to be in the cast towards the end, because I do think that he had so much drive and so much passion for wanting to play this game. And I'm hoping so much that time zone does not affect him. So I do have really high hopes for him. I hope he goes far. I hope that the time zone, that's just tripping me up. But I really hope that doesn't come in to bite him, because I do think he's capable of playing an amazing game.
Listen, guys, I hear where you're coming from with the time zone stuff, because I think whenever we did any like ceremonies or like competitions in our season, I think it was like 2 to 4 in the morning for Nathan. It is a really weird time for anybody in the UK. So I do see the concerns. But I'm in love with Sam T. I've never met him. Do I want to? Absolutely. I don't know what it is. I found him to be so adorable. Like, words cannot describe. I'm in love with him. That's it. That's pretty much it. I do think he's gonna go super far. He did talk about wanting just to meet new people and make friends. So I think he's gonna have the social part down. Whether the time zone gets in his way or not is gonna be tricky, but I don't think that's gonna stop him. Do I think he's gonna have the strategic ability to do much? No, sadly no. But I do still think he can go super far just on his social game alone. I think he's going to be somebody who everyone gets along with. Thank you. He's going to be somebody who everyone gets along with. And I wish nothing but the best for him. I want him to do so well, and I am rooting for him. He is probably like in my top 3.
One thing
one more comment I want to make on him. What was that, Drew?
I actually have one more comment about him. The only thing that does slightly worry me about him, if he is active and the time zone does not affect his game at all, the fact that he said in his Meet Me video that he kind of idolizes and would like to play like Dan Giesling. If he does try to do that, that could either work really well in his favor or people can catch on very quickly and that can screw him over. So that is my one and only concern with Sam T in this game. But other than that, I'm still a big fan and rooting for him.
He also is new to orgs. He's really just used to 10 gauge games, and so I think that might trip him up because I don't know if he realizes the level of gameplay that he is getting himself into. So like orgs are just such a different thing than a group game or a 10 gauge game, and I don't know if he necessarily realizes that yet. So if he can pick up on that, I think he'll do so.
I mean, to be fair, 1984 was my first ever org too, so
yeah.
And you played like a crackhead. Are you wrong?
I mean, it got me to find.
We still have like 5 or 6 people to do, so.
I'm sorry, I just had to turn my air on because I'm fucking dying. I'm sweating.
Next, we have Rizzo.
Daddy Rizzo!
Oh. Can I go first for this one? Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. So on the People's Republic call, oh my God, I spaced out for a second. On the People's Republic call earlier, Tawny and Billy were both on there, and Keaton was also on there. And the one person that they brought up about potentially cracking the power of 3 is Rizzo and knowing about the power of 3. And they kept pointing it back to Rizzo. And I know that Keaton told them that they should just pull Rizzo in. And Tawny was like, no, I don't want Rizzo to be pulled in. I don't want anybody who knows about the People's Republic to be in this game because that would potentially put a target on our back. So I know that people in the Power of 3 are already looking at Rizzo before the game even.
Republic.
You mean the Republic?
I'm like,
we've been replaced, guys.
Right.
crap.
This is why I don't like the name.
It's day 1 and we've been replaced by Billy, Tawny, and Kevin. We ain't even working together.
The people in the People's Republic are already viewing Rizzo as a target before the game. However, I'm hoping that he can overcome that, and he's not actually going to get out early because of that. Because
how does he know
really
about
cool guy.
it if he's not in it? Like,
huh?
How does he know about
only one left.
Yeah, I think
Daddy Rizzo.
it was from another game. I know.
It was only one left. Would be my guess because Billy, Keaton, like half of People's Republic was in that game, and Rizzo was as well, and it was like a whole big conversation topic.
So, like, I hope he goes far. I really, really like him. Yeah, he's adorable. So I hope he makes it far.
Rizzo's the greatest. I call him Daddy Rizzo. I don't even know if he likes it. I've called him daddy.
Also, isn't he like 17?
No,
He's like 20.
he's like 20, 19 or 20.
Still younger than you.
The way she
He's
said
younger
that
than
made
me,
me
but
die.
he's definitely legal. But anyway, so I watched Rizzo play in I Love Money Season 4, and he got very far. And then I played with him in I Love Money Season 5, and we worked together very well. Rizzo is really good at games. Rizzo can destroy comps like you would not believe. I could easily see Rizzo breaking my record of most comp wins in the entirety of the series. Just had to get that little plug in there. I could see out of everyone in the season, Rizzo would be like the one person I could see breaking that. He's really good physically, like comp wise. He's so good.
And he has a better chance because 3 people win a comp every week. Just in
True. So you have more chances to win comps. I think he could do well comp wise, and he does well socially also. I think he's kind of one of those, like, I know this is really weird to say, but like Billy Stevens-esque characters where like he will eventually get targeted for the fact that he's like charismatic and attractive and physically strong, you know, good at comps, those kind of things. So I can see him being an early juror, like 10th, 9th, because I don't think he is like that, like super in, like he doesn't get that into orgs to where like he puts his all into it, or puts like hours and hours of effort into it. So I think that he would get stuck at like 10th or 9th, but I think he's going to be an early juror. I'm just excited to see Rizzo play whenever because he's beautiful and daddy, and I love him, and he's like the nicest human ever. Can't go wrong with Rizzo.
I definitely think Rizzo's making jury. I have him about 7th-ish. I don't necessarily know how active he'll be. If he is active, though, I think he's going to do really well. I don't know how many connections he's going to be able to make, though, so that's what I'm concerned about. Like, I don't know if he has any connections already. I think he's probably one of the lesser. I know that he knows, like, Gianna and some other people, like, from I Love Money, but I don't know. I have high hopes for Rizzo. I could say a lot about him that I have said for Billy in the past. Like, I agree with Megan on that. So I think that he'll win a bunch of comps, and then I think it'll catch up to him, and he'll lose one, and he won't be able to save himself.
Side note, if you look at the 1984 alumni chat, they are currently talking about my titties. So
Sprints.
Caleb knows.
Caleb said, I have pictures.
I will say this much about Rizzo. Right off the bat, just from looking at the cast, he does have a good amount of relationships, whether or not they're good or bad. He does still have relationships. How you said how people are already talking about possibly targeting him. I know just recently I played a Survivor org with Rizzo. We didn't talk like at all, so I can't really like speak on his personality. But he did make jury portion at least. But so did Sean. And him and Sean were very close. So I can possibly see him and Sean working together in this game. Whether or not that helps them out in the game, I'm not quite sure. But it's always good to still have the connections, because that could very well help you. So with him, if he doesn't get jury, I think he's going to get a last pre-jury spot.
We are nothing but Rizzo stands in this chat. This is a fact. I think we all want Rizzo to do really, really well. Myself, however, I don't think he's going to be able to. I think Megan pretty much summed it up the best. I think there's a couple of things going against him in this. The fact that he doesn't always give 100 in the orgs that he plays, I think does catch up to him. I think he gives enough effort to make it decently far, but when it gets down to like the nitty gritty, he's just an easy boot because nobody really has that deep connection with him. On the other hand, I have played games with him, and he does play a very, very loyal game. So if he is able to make those connections and take them for a long time, it can work out to his favor. But I also agree that I think Rizzo plays a lot of like, at least the games that I've heard of him play is like I Love Money and the Challenge. Like he plays comp heavy games because that's what he's good at. Um, Big Brother, yes, you need to be able to win competitions, but it's also like probably the longest org you can play. And I think if he wins too many at the beginning, like Michael said, it's going to catch up to him. And I think if he plays too hard too fast, he's going to get an early boot. But I really do hope for the best. I do see him at least making jury, but it's probably going to be an early jury boot. That was a lot, but I just have a lot of things to say about Rizzo.
Daddy. That is all. I don't know
straight
where
up thought
I literally had never met the guy before I started calling him that. I just Daddy Rizzo, and now it's stuck.
Straight up thought he was 17 or 18. I'm sorry, Rizzo.
No, he's legal.
And that wasn't what I was asking.
I'm sorry, but Megan left me dead earlier when she was like, Daddy Rizzo. I don't know if he likes me calling him that, but
I've never, like, every time I call him that too to his face, and sometimes he'd be like, but like, I started calling him Daddy Rizzo before I met him, so he might have like a weird, creepy vibe of me. I don't know. We worked well together before, but yeah, he's never told me he doesn't like it, but you know what? I should probably ask him if he's okay with me calling him Daddy Rizzo, because consent is what? Fundamental.
Okay.
Okay.
T.
Okay. The next person is Galen.
Who?
Galen.
Galen. Oh, Galen.
From what I hear, he's shaping up to be a first boot.
Hey,
Poor Galen. He has been an early boot in pretty much every org that he plays. He was kind of the one leading the conversation today in the house chat. He was talking about past games with people that were in the chat, which I think is not the best. I really want him to do well. I just don't know if I see it. I really like him as a person, and he's a really sweet person, but I just don't know how this game is going to go for him. Yeah, I really hope he does well. I just don't see it happening. He is one of the 4 Ascendance people as well, so he could get caught up in that, and he could be an easy first person out of that group. Yeah, Megan.
Okay, so I know Galen a little bit. Galen's actually one of the few people that I told Michael not to cast. And not because he's a bad person, because he's a great person. He's really sweet, really, really friendly. I think just doesn't have the grasp of gameplay in general. Like, I think he would do well just like socializing with people, like just on like in a group chat like the Republic. He would do well and people would love him. But again, in games he gets early boot a lot, and I think it's because he doesn't really have that understanding of what to say, what not to say. Also, Galen has a tendency to be one of those people that's like incredibly active and social, like night 1, night 2, and then kind of disappears, and then you're kind of like, what the fuck? I played Pro Survivor with Galen, and he was on my starting tribe, and my very first alliance in Pro Survivor had Galen in it because he was very social, very active the first couple days, and then kind of disappeared to where when we went to our second tribal council, people were kind of like, well, where the fuck did Galen go? And me and my alliance, like, we were all like, Galen, you need to talk to these people. And he was like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm social. Like, I got it. Kind of like literally just like, I'm good. And we were like, no, you need to talk to these people. And he was like, nah, I'm good. I got you guys. I got this alliance. And it ended up in a tie vote at the second tribal council of the season. And then like people were talking about like before revoting, and somebody had been like, I'm voting out Galen. I'm switching. I'm going to vote him out. So like, no matter what, you're leaving. And it turned into this huge thing, and he got voted out in the revote, and he cried, and he was very upset, and made no sense to me because we were like 4 days into the game and like had no really no hold in the game yet because it was so early. But he was very, very, very upset at the fact that he got voted out. when he had been social enough to make an alliance and then just disappeared for 4 days or whatever, however many days, and then we were like, what the fuck? So again, I just don't think it registers in his mind that he needs to like keep that up and keep talking to people. I think he thinks once he makes like an initial impression with people, like they're good and he doesn't have to put in the effort anymore. And then also to like the heightened emotions, like with the vote out, like like I see him being one of the kind of people like being nominated to where everyone's kind of like, yeah, that was a pretty obvious nom. And then he's like, where did that fucking come from? And you're like, how did you not see that coming? And kind of maybe like kind of unfortunately pulling like a Brandon and kind of like blowing up at being nominated to the point where then he just gets voted out UNAN. Because again, different from Survivor though, like he blew up when he got votes in Survivor. So if like being put on the block and being like, oh shit, you know, I think he's one of those. So yeah, Caitlyn I think is a great human. I just don't think has the capabilities to do well in a game just yet. Hasn't really figured out that good middle ground. I think he'll be an early boot. I'm sorry, Caitlyn.
Galen also got really emotional in his boot for Ascendance, and he was first boot in that game. So.
Yeah, he cried when he got booted.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. When I saw his, and I really feel bad because he did mention, like he didn't go into detail in it, but in his Meet Me video, he did say how he's kind of had like a bad org rep, and I thought like, well, maybe it was like one of those like personality clash type things where like he just didn't get along with a lot of people in the org community. So when I asked around and when people told me that he's constantly getting first boots, kind of felt bad because I do see him being the first boot of this season. I don't know, it's just something about him. It's just like it doesn't really click, like how Megan said, like I see a lot of people kind of seeing him as like the easy person, maybe not like definitely not like the HLC, because I don't see him being so toxic, but I see him, if he's not the first boot, he'll probably be on the block a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Drew pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. I also grabbed onto the fact that he brought up being or having a reputation. And in my mind, that automatically goes to like a negative reputation, especially when he didn't go into details about it. So I'm like, oh, did they cast somebody like super controversial? Like, is there some tea I need? It was cleared up and it wasn't anything bad. And Megan says he is a good person. And I do believe that because he came across like that in his video. But I just don't see it happening for him. There's just something about him. I don't know if it was the fact that he did bring up the fact that he has a reputation, but that put me off immediately. And I don't know if it's going to do that to anybody else, but it's already sounding like it's not looking too good for him. I do hope he can pull it out because I always like rooting for like an underdog, but it's not looking too good right now.
One more thing I want to add really quickly, just because I know you guys, this will like put more context in your brains. But in Pro Survivor, when he was like second boot or whatever, and it was a tie vote, the tie vote was between Galen and Ginny, and people kept Ginny in the game. So again, context, he's not a toxic person. He's not like Ginny. But people just saw more value in keeping Ginny over Galen just because it was just like he just didn't get it. So yeah.
Maybe that's why he cried, because that's a hard pill to swallow.
Honestly, that makes me want to cry. So,
like the thing about Galen is like he really is a sweet and genuine person. Like he does care for, like he really is passionate about these games. But I don't want him to disappear. And he said somewhere, I'm assuming it was his production chat, but I'm pretty sure he saw somewhere, or he said somewhere that he wants to change the way that he plays these games. And he said that he's going to come in here with a new strategy. And I'm hoping that he actually follows through with that and he doesn't let history repeat itself. Because if he got first, like I couldn't imagine getting first and second boot in like every single org. That would be that might be why he cries. Like, that would be so defeating. Like, I feel bad for him if that's the case. Like, I really hope that he doesn't end up getting first boot this time and that he makes those connections needed. And hopefully he doesn't do what Megan said he did last time and disappear for like however many days. If he doesn't change his strategy, then I could see him getting an early boot again. But if he actually changes things up, I could see him going a decent way. And I hope that is what happens. But kind of like y'all said, it doesn't look super promising. And Megan basically said that he was like the Mimi I'm first of All Stars 1 in every org, like cast for first boot. I don't mean that in a mean way, but I hope that,
Oh my God.
that ends up not being true.
Not Mimi, I'm first.
I love you, Caitlyn, when you watch this back.
I know, I feel so bad. He's gonna be the one that's like, they just dragged me.
I did not compare you to Mimi on first. Remember that.
We're all rooting for you.
Yeah. Galen's one of those where it's like, yeah, he really always kind of does horrible in games, but it's not by any fault of his personality. Like, he has a good personality, so people want to see him do well. It just never happens. So.
Sean is already kind of talking about not wanting Galen in anymore because he was kind of talking about, or Galen was talking about like past games and stuff like that, and it's just like it's too early to talk about that kind of stuff because you're showing relationships that people don't want you to have, and so yeah.
We'll get to Sean later. We'll get to him.
Oh, we sure will.
Okay. Next is Justin.
That's gonna be Sean.
We just skip and go.
Justin is somebody who I'm not sure who's going to do or how he's going to do either, because you either really like Justin or he's like way too much for you. Like, so I don't know where he's going to land in this group of people. However, he does really get emotionally invested in these orgs, and he really does care about these orgs. And Megan, as Drake and Josh once said, Megan. I think that Justin has a lot of passion and has a lot of love for these games, and I think he's going to put all of his effort.
Can we cast a Drake and a Josh for All Stars simply so that we can do a duos week and have them nominate Megan? Because I think that would. We have a Drake and we have a Josh. We could make it happen right now.
No.
They're number 19, 20, and 21. Who?
As Tatiana said, choices. I like I said, I think Justin could go either way because he's either way too extra for people to want to deal with, or he's really, really likable for people to want to work with. So I don't know where he's going to end up. I could see him and Hunter end up clashing at some point. But yeah, I'm really excited to see where this game takes Justin, because I could see him going really far because he does really, really get invested into the games and try really hard. And unlike, like, I know y'all were saying Rizzo doesn't get 100% involved in orgs, Justin is like 150% involved, like invested in orgs. So I feel like he's going to give it his all. So I hope for the best for him, but I'm not sure if it's, I have no idea.
Honestly, and Michael can attest to this, ever since the end of Surviving Season 1, I always said that I wanted to see Justin in Season 5. However, because of how well he did in Surviving Season 1, honestly, his placement in this game, it really depends on how much this cast does their homework. If they see just not only how well he did in the first season of Surviving, but how he managed to get there, he's going to be a big threat and be targeted very early on. If they don't do their research and don't realize that's how he made it to the end, I see him pretty much doing the same exact thing in this game. He knows how to talk to people, get them on his side, obviously, and then he's going to be quick to cut them when he needs to. Do I see him winning if he even makes finals? No, because that's something like that's not really good jury management. But like I said, I think as far as his placement goes in this cast, in this season, it really depends on how much, like I said, the cast does their research on other players.
I would like to piggyback off of that because I fully agree with Drew, and I think it's more so going to go the route of the cast doing their research, not only just because like I feel like the cast is going to look into things, but also because you have so many people who played Surviving, you have so many people from the Republic, you have this many 10-gaugers who know of Justin. People are going to know immediately how well he did in Surviving, and like you said, Drew, they're going to know how he got there. So I think like, again, Justin puts his all into these games and he puts his emotions into it, but it comes off in a way kind of like Megan in season 4, to where like, although he's genuine with people, they're going to perceive it as fake as fuck, and they're going to hate him for it. Because again, he's one of those, he will get very personally close with somebody, but then cut them if he sees it best for his game, which yes is really smart strategically, but also not good for jury management or anything socially. I think people are going to notice and recognize like how he did in Surviving 1. I think he's going to be pre-jury for that reason. I really do. I think he's going to get a bad go in this. I think he's going to maybe be like close to late pre-jury for it, but I really do think, can we not do a rolling eyes gif? I think that Justin is going to put like 100 million% effort into it. People are going to fall for it, and then like come week 2, week 3, they're going to be like, wait, shit, no. And I do think he's going to get pre-jury for it because he's just that good, but also that bad in a sense.
And like also with the research, if they really do their research on him, they're going to know. Granted, he didn't win the award, Villain of the Season. Unfortunately, that was me. But he was still nominated for that award.
And he did win Player of the Season, so.
That too. So.
Yeah. And he's like high up on the power rankings. Like.
He was number 1 after that season.
I fought hard for him to stay number 1.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be kind of one of those things where like your reputation caught up with you. Trust me, Justin. No. Wait.
The way Michael Davis moved his face out of that camera angle was so funny.
Anyway, I do think it's going to be the case of his reputation catches up to him, which, like, trust me, Justin, I know exactly how that feels. I've been dealing with it for the past 8 fucking months, ever since this fucking game. I'm just a little bit mad about that. So, yeah, I think his reputation is going to catch up with him, and he's going to be a pre-juror.
One more side note, Caleb, we're still waiting on you to get Villain of the Season for a series.
Yeah, imagine me not being the only one to not. Wait, no, did I get it and only one left?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
We're all a bunch of villains.
Okay.
Whatever.
I fought for Justin to be on this cast. Justin was an alternate for this season. And I pushed for either him or one other person to get the spot. And I was adamant about it.
I think it should have been the other person.
Oh. And so I am really excited to see him play. I want to see how his game translates. I think him and Hunter need to work together, and if they do not, then neither of them are getting anywhere in this game. Because Hunter and Justin are number 2 and number 3 on the Surviving Power Rankings right now. Those two need to work together, or they're screwed. I think Justin plays a really good game, and I think that he has a good shot. I predicted him going out in the triple. So.
Ooh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah. Ooh, very Big W-esque.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh. I'm never gonna count Justin out ever again because I thought he was gonna be one of the first boots of surviving. And he went on to get fourth and player of the season, and he's currently third on the power ranking, so he obviously did something right. I'm never gonna count him out again. Um, I do think he's gonna have a lot harder of a journey in this game, though, because his reputation does precede him in the 1984 community. Uh, and I just don't think. I think sometimes he plays too emotionally. Like he is able to cut people, but I don't know. I feel like just the vibe that I get is sometimes his emotions can get in the way. Uh, um, and so not that he's afraid to cut people, but I think like if him and Hunter do clash, Hunter's always able to stay not necessarily calm, like he'll argue, but I feel like Justin will get emotional and he'll get upset. He'll get angry. Hunter will fight back, but he's
Do the
gonna.
picture of everybody crying except for Josh.
So I don't know. I'm just worried that if it all becomes too much for Justin, he might break down. And he might have like if his name's being thrown out there, I'm afraid it's gonna happen. I don't know. I worry about Justin in this game. He has the capability to make it far. I hope it happens. I really do. I'm not sure if it will this season though, just because he has such a big name in 1984 coming into this game.
Again, I agree with that, and I just want to say I think Justin's downfall in this game is going to be more so external environmental factors rather than like an internal, like you just don't know how to play the game. I do think whenever his downfall is going to be, because I don't think he's making it to the end, I'm sorry, whenever his downfall is, it's going to be due to those external factors, as opposed to anything in terms of like his game, like just his reputation or clashes with personalities, those kind of things.
But I don't know. I still think he might still be able to kind of like bamboozle some people in this cast. Because he did do that in Surviving.
Yeah.
Even like with my vote out, like had he not the very next tribal admitted that he was the one who flipped on me, I literally thought it was Megan who flipped on me. And I probably would have thought that the entire season. Had he not said that and admitted that, he would have had me bamboozle literally the entire season.
And let's not forget, too, that Justin pulled off probably the biggest dramatic move, kind of like dispelling rumors-esque in Surviving. I would say he pulled off the biggest dramatic move in Surviving with the whole forcing it to a tie to get Gwen out kind of thing. Because, like, again, that's a very chaotic.
That was so extra. That was way too extra.
It was chaotic. It was
villainous. Real quick, not to get off topic, but it wasn't supposed to be as extra as it was. When got personal, and that pissed me off, so I had to get personal back.
Yeah, so yeah, he is one of those that like for the drama, for the TV purposes, for the entertainment, he'll do crazy shit that really like again, like dispelling rumors is really fun to talk about and make mugs and phone cases about, but at the end of the day, puts a huge target on your back. So yeah.
He's definitely got that charisma about him that he can stab you in the back and you still want to believe that he's the good guy in the situation.
We have 3 left and it is midnight, so let's keep it going.
I'm not falling asleep yet. This is good.
Next is Xander, and Paige will want us to say that this was her recruit. So yeah,
you go.
Okay, I'll go. Xander gives me Caleb Reynolds vibes. I think that Xander is going to be very likable. I think he's going to fly under the radar. I think he'll make it far. In my little fantasy thing, he didn't make it far. Just because I thought that Xander could be an easy out to nom a lot early on. But in reality, I think Xander's probably going to make it far. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the end, though. But I really like him. He was one of my favorite interviews. So, yeah. And I think he's a new face to this community, which I really like.
I get good vibes from Xander. I think he is going to be able to talk with people. I think he's going to be social enough to get him far. my biggest story, he said he had a dry sense of humor. I don't know why that always worries me because I love a good dry sense of humor, but I know a lot of people don't. And so whenever somebody says that, like I automatically tense up. I'm like, ooh, I hope people don't hate you because I really don't because I like him. I loved watching his video. He seemed, I don't know, just like I would personally want to get to know him better, and I just hope the rest of the cast does as well. I think they will. I think whether he has a dry sense of humor or not, I think he's going to be able to get to know and like socialize with the rest of the cast in other ways. So I think he'll be fine. It's not a huge concern of mine. And I do think he is going to go far.
Kind of piggybacking off of what Caleb said about his dry sense of humor. I don't know, dry sense of humor like that. When it comes to people, that doesn't worry me. Because I've seen many people with dry sense of humors make it very far, have resting bitch face. What's that mean? But that's the thing, like, that's just part of his personality. Now, if that wasn't his part of his personality and he was doing it just to try to, for whatever reason, like, think he's doing something by doing that, that's one thing. But it's part of his personality. So I don't think that'll necessarily hurt him. Will I see him being as social as I would like him to be? No. But if he can kind of wiggle into relationships and figure out how to relate to every single person, he can make it far. Me personally, though, I kind of don't see it. I really don't. I don't get that vibe from him. So I don't know.
Xander?
I just want to say that I just got a titty pic on Snapchat unexpectedly, so...
Ooh.
Anyway, continue.
Interesting.
Invited Chrissy for us.
It's not her. It's not her.
I think Xander is like super adorable. Like he's just somebody who I feel like I would vibe so well with, and like we could have really like nerdy conversations, and it would be so fun.
Tell him about the question he asked us in his interview.
Oh yeah, during his interview, he literally asked me if I believed in basements, and this like that it threw me off. I was like,
believe in basements?
I literally live in my.
He brought it up in his. He brought it up in his Meet Me video too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He says something about he likes to ponder the real questions in life, like whether basements exist or not.
Like basements,
like the basement that is in my house right now that I can walk down to and fully exist in that space. That real space, that's my basement.
Wait, pause. Isn't he also the one that mentioned something about in where he lives, something about corn and meth?
Yeah, he said he lives in Indiana, home of corn and crystal meth.
Okay, I love him already. I didn't watch his video. Again, I didn't watch any of the videos. But I love him already. I really have no frame of reference because he's new and I don't know him and I have nothing to compare to him. But just from what y'all are saying, he sounds fucking hilarious. Sounds like the kind of person I want to chill with. I think depending on how the cast feels about those kind of things, I think he'll get pretty far with that kind of personality. I think that's pretty cool. That's all I got. Sorry, Xander. I'll watch your video at some point.
Yeah, also the fact that we memorized a good majority of his video.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
His video
stand
was
out.
So
That's fair.
Oh, I also have Xander as one of my winner picks because I feel like people are gonna really love his goofy out there personality. But I could also see it going the other way too, where people find him, I don't want to say weird because I feel like that sounds mean, but like people might find him different than everybody else, so they might try to target him. But I'm hoping that's not the case because I think Xander is a goofball and I think he could bring a lot to the season.
He's on my draft team, but like my fantasy draft team, but it's more because I think he's gonna make it far, not necessarily that I think he's gonna win. But yeah. Okay. 2 more. Next is Sean. If somebody's gonna want to start. So
Baby boy.
I'm
Oh,
gonna start with Sean because he's one of my closest friends. I love Sean to death. Like, I love him. I've known him since the beginning of my time in the org community. We started orgs around the same time. We're in the same friend groups. He's a sweetheart. I've made out with Sean. I love him to death. In games, Sean is a firecracker. No, not a firecracker. He is a volcanic eruption. Sean will do anything and everything for airtime. He will do anything and everything to start drama. He will leak shit to everybody without even realizing it. Sean is a very, very, probably one of the messiest game players I've ever met in my life. I adore him, I love him, and people love him because he's insane. But in games, he's insane. So he never really does that well on a game level. I've seen him go very far in games. I've seen him lose 9-0 in a game. I've seen him be a early jury. I've seen him be a pre-jury. So I don't know in terms of his placement. I really think it just depends on the casts. I think his messiness combined with his Ascendance connections, combined with just the fact that he knows, he's one of those people that knows almost fucking everybody, that's going to cause him to end up getting pre-jury. I still love to watch him. I will love every second he is on my screen because he just brings the entertainment. It's just not really on a game level. And I know he'll hate me for this after the season, but I love him. He's not on the level of Power of 3, man. He can't get all that shit together. Yeah, but I love him.
Sean, my relationship with Sean, we don't really have like a personal relationship, because we recently played an org together. He got 12th place. But from what I did see of Sean like that, the 13th placer was not who he wanted. In fact, it was one of the people that he really wanted to make it to the end with.
By the way, it was Rizzo.
Yes, it was Rizzo. It was Rizzo. As soon as Rizzo got voted off, when I tell you this boy went berserk, left every single game chat he was in. Mind you, this boy is still in the game. Left every single game chat he was in for the entire season. Was calling people out in the main tribe chat, not just game-related things, but it started to get a bit personal. And I'm just sitting here like, baby boy, all this because one thing didn't go your way? I love him as a person because we did talk in Ponderosa. But he's one of those people, if things don't go his way, it's his way or no way. If certain things don't go in his way in this game, he's not making it far. And with the twist in the beginning of the season, depending who's in power, I don't see things probably going his way, and he probably will put a target on his back very early on. So for that reason, if he doesn't get first boot, I see him getting second or third.
Ooh.
I wish I could quote Selena Gomez here, but Sean will promise the world and nobody will fall for it because he will literally go to everybody and try to have an alliance with them and work with them and final two with them. But Sean needs to realize one of these next couple of games he plays, you can't go telling everybody that you want a final two with them and think that they're not going to converse and talk with each other because that's not how these things work. Sean is a very sweet person, super sassy, super funny, and I love that about him. However, he turns into an absolute crackhead in games. It's nuts.
It's like he literally just smokes a bunch of crack right before he plays an org. Like
he is a really sweet person though, and I do genuinely like him. He goes ballistic in these games. his boot and ascendance actually caused for a split in the cast for the rest of the game. So, and he was eliminated third, mind you. So it was
As Mr. Rock.
And yeah, I have no idea where to say that I think Sean will place because it could be anywhere. But I think the season would be really entertaining if he lasted for a while. So I'm going to go in that direction. I hope he goes a little further.
I have Sean as an early boot, like 4th or 5th, I think. I am interested to see how he plays. He said on the house call that he is seen as a messy player normally and that he wants that to change. So, like, I don't know what that's about. I don't know. He is already targeting Galen. There hasn't even been a competition, so I don't know how that's going to go.
Wait, real quick. Can you say why exactly he wanted to target Galen?
Oh, because Galen was saying, like, basically calling out connections that him and Sean had. Like, he was talking about Instagram games that they had both been on and talking about Ascendance and all this stuff, and basically making it known that him and Sean know each other. Sean also played Trinity Survivor New Beginnings, and Nolan was in that game. So Nolan got an early boot, but Nolan definitely recognized Sean. So Sean has a lot more connections than anybody's going to really notice. So he could make it far, but I don't expect it. Him and Caitlyn are definitely close, but I think people have picked up on it already. So I think one of them is going to go early, and it'll probably be Sean, if not both of them. So I don't know. I don't expect Sean to do well, but I would not be upset if he does. So.
Real quick, not trying to cut off your turn, Kayla, I'm sorry. But you guys have mentioned that Sean and Rizzo are close, and I know that Sean and Caitlyn are close, so do you think that those three could possibly come together and try to form something?
Possibly, but I think that they're going to be targeted early. I don't think they're going to...
Yeah. Like, I see all three of them being early targets, so I think, honestly, the only way they could possibly squeak out a little bit is if, like, maybe only, if not 1-2 of them, first week can be part of Power. Maybe nominate the other one, like if it's 2 of them, maybe get the other one nominated to not make it seem like they're going to work together. But other than that, I don't really see much faith in those 3 being together.
I don't know Sean at all. I've never seen him play. But just based off the small time that he has been in the house, it's not looking too good. You have mentioned that he's already targeting Galen. And I have a prediction. I'm with you on this one. I think he's going to be first or second boot because either he's going to push too hard and people are going to turn on him instead of just going with it and getting Galen out. Or Galen will go out the first week, but people are going to realize how hard he's playing. And nobody wants to deal with somebody who's playing with that week 1 because that means you have to put up with it for the rest of the game. So I don't think he's going to last long in this game at all. He does have some connections. I don't know how far those are going to get him because I do think if him and one of his connections are targeted, he most likely goes over anyone. So it's not looking good for him. I do kind of want to see him play. He sounds super interesting and like definitely a different type of player. So
he's interesting.
His hair matches the season color, so that's cute.
What?
His hair matches the season's like color thing.
So I do hope he goes far because I do want to see how he plays. I think it would make for a great org, but I have a bad feeling that it's not going to happen for him.
I see Sean being like a JJ-esque boot, like a 5th or 6th, kind of close to late. What? I don't think he would. No, I don't think he would. But I could see him being a JJ-esque boot in the turn, like the sense of like very social, very controversial, very kind of weird in strategy, has all these connections that people like know from the get-go, and then finally a couple weeks in, they're like, okay, let's fucking take care of this now before it gets too bad. That kind of thing. I see him being like 5th or 6th boot.
These people are going to watch back and see that we're talking about eating a sandwich, and they're going to be like, what the fuck does eating a sandwich have to do with me being in this game?
Would you eat a sandwich to win 1984 Power 3?
Listen, it had everything to do with that. Him not eating that sandwich is the reason Power 3 was formed.
It really was. Blake, we really should somehow find a way to implement this. It's not our...
As soon as Caleb won that HOH and was like, I'm targeting JJ, as soon as you nominated JJ, I was like, okay, I want him.
Yeah, see, because me and Caleb, we were talking about it as soon as he won HOH, and we were like, well, we really love Megan, but we know how close she is to JJ, so we did.
Oh, man, I jumped ship so fast.
We were like, wait, do you think now's the time? And Caleb was like, I don't know, let me talk to her. So I was like, bet. Power 3?
Okay.
Thanks, JJ.
We have one more left. So, wait, did you guys know?
Oh my fucking god.
Did you know?
Wait a
Did you know that he won Sequester?
What?
No
The
way.
live version?
Y'all think it's funny, but I actually didn't. I mean, I obviously, but like before surviving, I didn't. I had no idea who Hunter was.
Okay, Hunter. I
Me too.
don't know how this is gonna go. Me and Blake, I think, both kind of thought that he was getting an early boot, but once he got on this call today, people I don't think are very scared of him like we thought they would be. I think I don't think that his like presence is going to affect anything. Like I think he's going to be able to play this game normally, I think, without like the sequester thing being held over his head, other than by Tawny because she's keeping account of how many times he says anything about sequester. But I feel like Hunter is going to be able to form connections in this game, and he's going to have a good shot. Don't necessarily think he's going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up winning. My prediction is Hunter is getting like 8th, 9th. I think he'll make jury.
You know what? Thinking about it now, I said before that I think Kevin will get like the first jury boot. I take that back. I think Kevin will probably get like 2nd or 3rd jury spot because I really, really see Hunter being the Billy Stevens of this season.
I can see it.
I see him making it to jury because he's very good looking. He's obviously popular. Like, don't know if you know, but he did win Sequester.
Wait, he did?
I
didn't know that.
hate all of you. I hate all of you.
Caleb, you can buy an I Hate It Here sticker at /stores/1984-productions.
We love a good plug.
Thank you.
But yeah, I really see him being like one of those players where they're going to plan to blindside him, and I feel like it's literally pretty much going to go down, if not exactly like, very similar to the Billy Stevens blindside. It's probably going to come as expected. He might not come off as cocky as Billy Stevens did about surviving that, but
I don't know.
I do still see it coming. Hunter is more self-aware that he is a good player, but that's also a big reason to be targeted and a reason to be a big threat. So I see him being blindsided first jury member.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Actually, too, I can see him also being Billy Stevens. There was somebody else earlier that I said I could see being the Billy Stevens, but I agree with that as well. And like we said earlier, I really kind of am like hoping for a close Cindy Hunter relationship, and then a Cindy pulling a dispelling rumors and fucking with her at the beginning of jury. I think 1, that would be fun as hell to see. I think 2, it's very possible that could happen. I really do think so. I think as opposed to Justin, I think Hunter, again, does have the charisma to talk his way out of things early on in the game, whereas I don't think Justin does, which is why I think Justin will get pre-jury, but I think Hunter will be able to talk his way out of it. But again, it will be one of those things where people catch on very quickly. So it will be like a very early jury boot to where they catch on, but they have to blindside him. They have to backdoor him. They have to do something because like it can't just be like an outwardly targeting Hunter because he will like fucking slither his way out of it, I think. But again, with the reputation preceding him, people are going to find out eventually. And I think that is going to cause him to be Billy Stevens, if that's a phrase that should be.
Side note, whoever might be the underdog at the time, if they do their research, they might also want to do that because looking back, surviving 1984 season 2, Hunter literally voted for the one person that nobody knew, like nobody wanted to win. So the underdog might take that into consideration to get him in the jury because they might think he's a jury vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, or I definitely agree with what everybody has said. I really thought that Hunter was going to go early before the season started, but after the call today, I definitely see him as a first juror. It's like cemented right there. It's like if anything else happens, I'll be disappointed, honestly, because I see it so clearly. And I want Sandy to be the one that takes him out because I think that would be flipping iconic.
He's gonna say, "Did you guys know he won sequester?" Yes, sit on the block.
But yeah, I basically have the same opinions about Hunter y'all do. I see him getting first juror. I think that he'll get screwed over. People will see him too threatening come the jury phase because that's when people start amping up their games. You can't let Hunter get past a certain stage in the game or oof, you're gonna regret it. So I definitely think that Hunter will get cut right when the jury starts.
I can see it right now. Did you know he won sequester? He did, but he's not winning 1984.
Okay.
Pass on the block, Hunter.
I completely agree with Megan. I think the only way to get Hunter out is to blindside him / backdoor him, because if he even catches a whiff of it, he's either gonna go like ballistic and like call a bunch of people out, or he is gonna find a way to get out of it. And you really don't want either of those things if you're targeting him. So you have to be very, very smart about doing it. Hunter does this thing where he's really good at making himself not seem like a target. I don't know how he does it, because he's obviously one of the biggest targets. Not even just the fact that he played sequester, but the fact that he played surviving. Oh, that's anyone. I'm so sorry. And he won sequester 3. But it's not even that. It's not just that. The fact that he played surviving so well so recently, and yes, Survivor and Big Brother are 2 different games. But he's also like player number 2 on power rankings. So like he's a good player, and he's shown that no matter what format you put him in, he's gonna do well. The problem is he's so good about making people not think that about him. I don't know how he does it, because it's so obvious from an outsider looking in. But I don't know. And I think he's gonna do it this game as well. Sounds like he already is. So I don't want to put him as first juror because I feel like that's like too good to be true. Like, do I want it to happen? Yeah, that'd be super funny. But I think he's going to go a little bit further. I do think people are going to realize early that he's a threat, or around that time that he's a threat, and they're going to want to get him out. I don't think it's going to be first jury member, but it's going to be early jury.
Okay, so that is everybody. So I think we should each go around and say our official first boot prediction and our official winner prediction. One for each. So we'll go in placement order. So Drew, you're first.
Oh, great.
Michael really had to get one last dig in.
I know, right? With everybody in the cast, first boot, it breaks my heart to say this, it really does. Galen, I just, I really see him being first boot. I hope he doesn't, but I foresee it. But winner pick, hands down, this will not change, never will. Cindy, my girl, we need that female winner, thank you.
Okay, Megan.
I am in the same boat as Drew. We are the true power of two, Drew. My first boot pick.
It's evil twins. It's the evil twin flip.
Caleb really won, and the other two said, "Fuck off."
Okay.
I don't need you.
But I was thinking the same thing even before Drew spoke. I think, unfortunately, especially hearing about the Sean Galen thing going on, I think Sean, he's one of those that's convincing enough that he'll win out. So I do think Galen will be the first boot. Unfortunately, although I would love to see something different from him, I think it's going to happen. I don't think things are changing for him this game. And again, winner pick from the get-go. As soon as I saw that they needed people to apply and more girls to apply, I knew that of the Svalbard girls, Cindy would be the best bet because she has the least connections. She has the personality. She has the strategic prowess. I firmly believe that Cindy could be the first biological female winner to pull it out and do what I could not do. I think she's got this game in the bag, and if she doesn't win, I would be fully shocked.
Caleb.
I am also gonna have to agree with Galen being first boot. It's so sad, but that's what it's looking like as of right now. As for my winner pick, I do want to root for Sydney. Not gonna lie, this cast has so many good people. There's so many people I want to pick, but if I had to pick just one, it would probably have to be Bryce, which scares me so much. I think he has the capability to do so well if he just applies himself. If he puts in the effort, he can win this, and I really hope he does.
Okay, Blake Murphy.
So first boot, I definitely.
You're cutting out, Blake.
Did I cut out?
Yeah.
You're back. Megan just popped out. Okay, go again.
First boot, I definitely think will come down to either Sean or Galen, but I kind of agree with the rest of y'all. I think Sean will win out in that one. So Galen, I hate to say it. My winner pick, oof, I have so many. I'm going to go out on a limb here and take a risk and say Xander.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna be different. My first boot's gonna be Sam T. I know you guys are not gonna like me for that, but
Stop it!
I see it happening. That would be my second choice.
Yeah, I think that Sam T could possibly be first boot. Like Galen could win veto. He could win power of 3. You guys don't know. So I think Sam T. My winner pick, I'm like going back and forth between two people. And I know I said one earlier, but I'm gonna say the other one this time. I'm gonna go for Tawny. So.
Ooh, we love 3 people picking women.
So.
Was I anyone's winner?
I'll take Tawny because I did say if it wasn't Cindy, I would love to see Tawny.
My other is Jason, but I think now that I've like thought of everything, I think I'm going with Tawny. Okay, that has been the cast assessment. After the we're going to do our draft. So it was a good like almost 3 hours. So if anybody actually watched this whole thing, like
3 hours, I'm just saying.
It's been a long ride.
Because
May I mention too, in past seasons, I've noticed y'all have had like 6 people be part of this, and this season it's only been 5, and we've probably gone longer than the rest of them.
Oh yeah, we have. So.
Y'all have a good cast though. We have a lot of things to say.
This is a very
about these
strong
people.
cast.
We just have a great cast, and honestly, I would not be surprised if the way the game ends up going is completely different from what all of us have said. Because everyone has potential to be amazing, I think.
I agree.
Okay, so with that, obviously this is postseason when you're seeing this, so congratulations to whoever won. So I don't know if we're gonna have a new alliance like the Power of 3 that we're possibly naming another season after. I guess we'll have to find out. So yeah, with that, this has been the cast assessment.